So, Kev, we just had a whole ass thing that could have been on the podcast, but we're
Did
not
you
going to put
catch
it
me
on 'cause
swatting
it's
at a
Dallas.
fly just now? I
I
didn't realize you
think
were gonna go that quick.
I don't know if I caught it or if it came in right after as your hand was coming down. But how about Micah Parsons on the Packers, man?
I don't want to repeat that again.
We don't have to get into the conversation about Dallas and how stupid Jerry Jones was, which was the conversation I was alluding to. But
we did go over during the wins draft when I correctly took the Packers very high. But
yes,
maybe let's also in tandem talk about how you have Micah Parsons. You can look way better than the Lions in week 1. You can look way better than the Commanders, who seem to still be pretty good in week 2. And then it's still not good enough to beat the Browns.
It's because Myles Garrett is still a stud, and why am I blanking on Michigan defensive tackle that they took? Right?
Mason Graham. I saw like a 43% pass rush win rate, like something insane like that.
And then you still have good corners, you still have good safeties, like you still have a very well-rounded defense, I think, throughout. Right? Like I'm not saying great, but like who they have? They have Ward and what's his name from?
They have Ward, they have Newsome, and they have another guy, and
Delpit, right?
It's gonna bug me. What the hell is the guy's name? He's a tall guy. Martin Emerson.
Yep. And then you got Delpit in the back, and who's come on, I think, the last couple of years, right? And then you add Mason Graham to the middle there, who I think both of us were incredibly high on. I thought he should have been a top 10 pick. Did he go top 10?
He was. He went.
It was. What's his name? Fell. Their corner, Michigan's corner, which names today are not coming in. This great.
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson fell to the second round. I don't know what's been going on with him and how he's been. I haven't followed up.
He's been starting, but unfortunately, he was hurt for yesterday's Cardinals game. So
there's the thing.
Right back to it.
So, yeah, it's a fantastic defense on the Browns. Probably not as easy of a win as long as Flacco scores, as long as you score 13 points and Flacco, I forgot who said it, but someone was like, Flacco, we just need you to score 13 points. And we don't even need you to score all 13 of those points. We just need you to keep us afloat. So good for that defense is going to be one of the best. And Packers defense, I think, from the games that I've watched, the reason I bring this up too is remember the wins draft, the last episode we put out. I brought up the fact that with Micah, I'm a little worried about the injury concerns because of the thing with his back. No longer concerned. Like even if he does play limited snaps, like he did, I think the first week,
just makes him go crazier.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, and when he's also ramping his way up, and it's like, that was fluky. They could play that game. They could play that game 10 more times. The Packers win all 10 of them. I mean,
the only way that trade I think ends up being a fail for them is if that injury ends up having long-term impact where he starts to play poorly over, I don't know, the end of the season or next year or the year after, and it shortens his career by a lot, substantially. And it would have to substantially shorten his career because it would have to be soon. Because if they get even one good contract out of him, right, it's a win. Yeah, unless, of course, they win a Super Bowl this year, in which case it's a win no matter what. Because if you get the Super Bowl, you get a damn Super Bowl, right? Like,
I have something a little tangential to bring up regarding Khalil Mack, but I think it could maybe wait a second.
Okay.
I think we came in on a conversation that we were having off the pod that I do think we've mostly covered it. Like,
I don't think we need much add.
Parsons is awesome. The defense is awesome. They lost on it wasn't fluky that the game was close, but it was also still then fluky that they lost the game anyway. I mean, they were kicking a 43. Their rapist kicker had a chance at a 43-yard field goal that he's usually not going to miss. Maybe got distracted thinking of all those rapes that he likes to do. But I don't think. It's whatever. It was funny. It was funny to see happen. But I think I do want to intro this pod by saying that on this pod we will only be doing episodes after the Bears win. So this is that's the precedent that we're setting right now. So I'm just saying there will be 5 or 6 more pods this year, but don't. You'll know our release schedule.
I think there'll be more.
I'm
I think
messing
you're a little
up.
bit more pessimistic.
I'm being a little silly.
I
Granted,
hear you.
7 wins.
I had a little bit of a transition though off of that Packers loss, which was, dude, that I will say NFC. I don't know. I don't know if I've been sending it to you or just my other chats. The NFC North memes war Reddit page has been hysterical because of it. Absolutely hysterical. I've been on that. I've been on it way too much. So to everyone who's put on memes,
you send me a good amount.
Yeah. So everyone who's been putting out memes onto that page throughout all the NFC Central, because Tampa Bay fans are on there too, and it's awesome. God bless you.
Is that really a thing?
Yes, it is, and I love it.
These guys have a lot of respect for history. Yes. Do you know what year the Bucs moved to?
It would have been when the
NFC
Texans
South?
joined the league. It would have been one. I don't remember that. It would have been early 02, early 2000s, because that's when they rearranged everything. I remember the NFC Central. There was an awesome photo. Do you remember the end of the first Avengers movie where they're eating shawarma at the table?
Yeah.
Somebody put the logos of everybody, including the Tampa Bay, and then you have Dan Campbell's face on it. It was awesome. But yeah, NFC Central's a thing on there. It's hilarious. I love that page. I've been on it way too much this week. I barely am on Reddit, right? Like I will comment. I think I commented on one thing this week on the Chicago Bears Reddit page, but I will comment maybe like 3 or 4 times a year. And I rarely post anymore. But this week I've been on it a ton because of that one page. It's been awesome.
So now I do want to say this, and if I'm going in a completely terrible direction, by all means, just restart the entire damn recording right now. But I will say we talked throughout the week a little bit about how we don't really want this podcast to be as much about the Bears as we've said it was going to be in the past. I think, and granted, I still think there's some validity to the fact that we'd like to talk about some other stuff. I think we have more to offer in other spots. But
you and I are just massive football fans.
But yes. But what I will say is, I think a lot of that was the 2 disappointing losses in wildly different ways talking. I think there's a lot of that. Granted, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the Bears every week. I want to talk about it for a little while, and then we'll get going. But it is a lot easier to talk about after that fucking performance. Yes. An A+ performance by the team.
This is a great transition to get into.
I don't feel like I'm taking my medicine just so I can keep the name of my podcast right now. It's like, yeah, I'll talk some Bears now.
Here's my thing. I've been pushing to do all NFL stuff only for a while. It hasn't been just the losses, because personally I don't think there's enough to talk about, especially on the off season when you're just doing the Bears and weekly even, right? Like I don't have as much fun just doing the Bears because I love watching the NFL. I love watching college football, right? We both do. And we could talk about most fun games during that week, right? And we'd have a lot more to talk about and a lot more interesting stuff to talk about because of it, which is why I think, because here's the other thing with the Bears, I feel like I'm just repeating a lot of stuff that a lot of people already know that are Bears fans, right? That you've already heard. There are going to be times where we have points that are different. For instance, after the Minnesota Vikings game, when we were pointing things out that I think the only other time I heard some of the things that we were pointing out was the Athletic podcast. Robert Mays started pointing out a couple weeks later. I remember being like, look, my clip, your clip. Hey, right, about Caleb and needing to make the decisions quicker, etc., not being confident with what his eyes are seeing, etc. And for a while now, I've also pointed out, and I think people are starting to come around to this, Caleb, because of some of that stuff, because of some of his feet and needing to learn the offense, he's had some inaccuracy issues, right? He's had some accuracy issues. And I've always come down to the more comfortable he gets in this offense, the more accurate he's going to be, because they've been talking about it. And this was actually a point I didn't make. Your eyes and feet need to be tied together, which is going to take reps and practice by going through your reads over and over, right? On top of that, seeing the defense you're going to be more confident with what you're seeing the more defenses you see, right? And the more times you see that defense come out in whatever, not specific defenses, but plays, right? The coverages, you're going to become more confident with what your eyes are seeing so you can pull the trigger. And that confidence and your feet being tied together with your eyes, those repetitions lead to your mechanics being more solid. He's got absolutely perfect fundamentally, his mechanics are flawless when he is comfortable and when he's just throwing, right? He's fantastic. Even Ben Johnson said it during a presser. It's just that now needs to translate over to everything else that he is seeing at once and everything else he's trying to digest and think through and run through until it's instinctual to the point where those now translate over to the game. And it's not just like blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we made those points before, right? Those are the only times where I'm like, oh, let's talk about the Bears because we have things that we want to say, right? We have things that I realized I went on a little tangent there. We have things we want to say, right, about the Bears. And maybe other people, I always do, that maybe other people might not be saying. But when we're saying the same things that everyone else is saying, it's just like, dude, why add to the noise? I think this is why I don't post on Blue Sky a lot about the Bears either. It's just like, why am I adding to the noise? Right?
I agree, and I agree, and I don't think we need to justify it. I think generally we do this for fun. We don't have really very many listeners at all.
Yep.
You know, I'd be lying. You know, it's funny to joke about how our pod is bad and all that stuff, but I'd be lying if I said it wouldn't be nice if at some point we got to a point where some people did want to hear what we had to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree the route is not to go get repetitive and talk about the same shit everybody else does all the time. So, you know, that's an off mic discussion that's basically been summarized right here.
Yep.
That said, we got to talk about the Bears. It's what we know best. We got to take our medicine. Then we can talk about some other stuff, was my point. And that said, this is now the window where we take our medicine and we talk about the Bears.
Well,
maybe don't go on very long tangents, but we do talk about the Bears for a second.
Here's the thing, though. If we do it after wins, Kev, which obviously you're joking about, but if we do it after wins, is it really medicine? Because I mean, that's when it's fun. I mean, that is when it's fun to add to the noise, right?
I will say, you have a lot more. You've been sending me stuff all week about the Bears, and I'm like, yeah, Caleb was good last week, And then I'll look at something, it'll be a good graph, and then it'll be like another one. It's like, yeah, I got it, yeah. They won 31-14. It was a great game. Loved it.
But none of that's podcast stuff, right? Like I sent you, I think, a lot.
No, but it's just it's to me, and it's indicative of the mood that you're in. That you're not doing that the first 2 weeks, and now you really want to. And of course, I'm not. It's not just you. I was very excited and encouraged by a lot of the stuff I saw.
Oh,
as anybody should be, but
to be fair,
I don't think it swings my willingness to want to talk about the Bears from week to week quite as much as it seems to for you.
To be fair, it's also partially because I'm not gonna lie, Kev, I love you. You can be very miserable to talk about the Bears with when they're losing, really, like when it gets really badly.
I don't think I said anything wrong though when they were losing.
I mean, I think you made a comment. You get a little extreme with what your thoughts are. How do I put this? It shouldn't be pod. This isn't pod stuff, but really quickly.
It's fine.
You will have a take, but you'll blow it up to like 150%, if that makes sense. So like you made a comment, I think, with Ben Johnson on the not kicking it out of bounds, right? And you're right, the take's right, but then that leads to the way you word it when you're mad at the time gets so strong that I'm like, I don't want to talk about this right now because and then I sent you what I was actually thinking at the time, which was, yeah, but sure, he should have kicked it out of bounds, but I see other things. So that's where it's like, I was thinking about those a couple weeks ago, but I'm like, I don't want to talk to you right now about this stuff because I'm upset too, but I'm also like less upset. And
I think you are right about me in that sense. I think it is informed by me coming into the year.
There's nothing wrong with that. We're all fans. That's the other thing. I should add that.
But it's me coming into the year with a pretty bad attitude in the first place because I had started talking myself into being pessimistic, and I still generally am compared to probably what most Bears friends are thinking right now. But also, I think there are many good examples. I think you probably picked the wrong example because what made me upset and what still makes me upset is I'm just some fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
I should not know the correct thing to do there instead of the guy who was hired to know the correct thing to do there. I think my anger was absolutely warranted. I can also totally understand getting a bunch of somewhat drunken texts from your buddy right after you're also upset the Bears lost, ranting about how the Bears lost. Nobody wants that. That is a for sure thing. I think from that game specifically, my criticism of Caleb probably went a little bit over.
Yeah,
granted, Caleb was dog shit in that game.
No,
I should have.
The first
Man,
3 quarters, were
11
great.
for 11 for
First 2
52
quarters
yards. 11 for 11 for 52 yards is bad. That is everyone was praising it on TV. It's like, is fucking Adam Gase in charge here? What are we doing? 52 yards on 11 throws is dog shit. I don't care how many of them
only
completed.
52? Are we sure it was
like
only
that? Yeah.
No, it was
something
like
very close to that.
he threw for 210 on.
Honestly, man, even if it's 80 yards, it's still dog shit. But I'm pretty sure it was 52.
I hate any website. I'm sorry, any website that auto plays videos with sound. Go fuck yourself. I'm throwing that out there. Go fuck yourself.
Go.
I hate it. It's terrible design.
Yourself.
I hate it. I open up an ESPN page. They're playing a video, and I get that in my ears while I'm doing a podcast. ESPN, go fuck yourself. Sorry.
If you go to www.virginiasdms.blogspot.com, that is exactly the way that a website should work. Updated last 3 years ago, and no auto-played videos.
21 for 210. So, I mean, 10 yards of completion, 35 attempts. So, like, that's like, I think it was 7 yards, 7 air yards per attempt, which is not that bad. I think
the point is also, can I say
here's my other thing.
He made about an 18-yard throw to DJ along the sidelines in that game. So when we take that away, it's like 10 of 10 for 30 something, like mid 30s. It's like he was just dumping down. Like I know Caleb knows how to dump down to the running back, and maybe it's a good habit to have, but like that was not good. And then when it came time to make actual throws, he was insanely inaccurate.
He also, he threw a corner route. I'm pretty sure he also threw what's it called, a dig or an over. There were a couple.
Honestly, the more good throws he made during that 11 yards.
How many? It was 2 quarters, right? It was 2 quarters. He threw a seam down to Komet. He threw a corner, and I'm pretty sure he also threw a dig. How many intermediate shots are you asking for? I should pull up his scattered plot. There's I'm talking about the target distribution on the field that they have on like NFL Next Gen Stats. I don't know.
We're going back in time.
Here was my point.
It's also tedious, unlistenable.
Yeah,
but
you said that he looked the same as last year after that game, and a lot of people did. To be fair, you weren't alone. A lot of people did. Reddit had a bunch of posts like that, and I'm sitting there.
I
didn't
say the same. I think I said no better.
No better.
Slight difference. Some stylistic changes that were not making him any better.
The fourth quarter looked awful because he was inaccurate on a lot of throws, and he was inaccurate even in the third quarter a little bit too. But he was taking the right read a lot of times and making several. Like he was going through his progressions pretty well, and I remember thinking that at the time, which is why I'm like, I'm not gonna engage with this, because I remember thinking that live watching the game, and I remember also thinking he's not taking sacks, he's leaving the pocket at the right time instead of sitting. Like how many times have we watched him sit there, and almost like he was paralyzed, where he didn't move and then would sit there for like 4 seconds and take a awful sack? How many times have we seen that?
I think it's very possible. Here's my worry here, Adam. We are not going to see eye to eye on what Caleb did in his first game.
It doesn't matter.
Is also going to make for some very bad
podcasts. Yep. It doesn't matter because he looked fantastic against the Cowboys.
Yes, let's focus on the Cowboys.
He looked really good, I think, against the Lions.
I liked him against the Lions. I was fully willing to admit, after being very sour for a week afterwards, that against the Lions, he was not the problem for me at all.
He caught some shit, I think, because we lost, and I think in the second quarter he took 4 sacks because I stopped watching, or second half, sorry. I stopped watching the Lions game because we were getting our ass kicked so badly. I was not mad at Caleb. I actually thought Caleb was having a good game. I thought our defense made that game so unwatchable for me. Like it hurt. It's weird because I want our offense to look good, and like as long as Caleb looks like he's it by the end of the year, I'm happy, right? As long as I see Ben Johnson and Caleb look like they're going to do it, like be that combination, right? I'm gonna be happy at the end of the season. But that game bothered me watching how bad our defense was. I'm like, this is like, it's embarrassing. And it was a reminder of no matter what my season goals are, watching your team get their ass kicked doesn't matter how it happens, it sucks. And so I remember stopping watching it. And I guess in that second half, he took like most of his sacks. He took like 4. But also you're going up against, you're in a pass first situation where it's obvious you're passing with Aiden Hutchinson up there. I think Brax got pulled out of the game because of how bad he was doing against Hutch, which he's still not up at 100%. He looked a lot better against the Cowboys, but it's also the Cowboys front. We'll see how he does this week.
Right.
Man, I don't know. It's hard. That game, I did walk away from that game though thinking, okay, he's making another step. I saw a step in the week 1 that I think a lot of people might have ignored. I see another step this week, and we see another big step against the Cowboys defense that absolutely sucked. Would you agree? Like 3 steps from last year, maybe 2 for you. And then he did it. Yes, he did it against the Cowboys defense that absolutely sucked. But the way that he did it seems like, how do I put this? The step he made and the way that he did it against the Cowboys defense makes me feel like that is not it might be fake that it was that big of a step, but the step itself was not fake.
The fakeness for me comes to the fact that Ben Johnson is excellent at scheming things open. You know, a lot of the chunk plays, and like anybody, you know, especially Nate Tice, people who are better at this than us, will find the plays that actually show what Caleb is or what any good quarterback is. Like, it's not when he hits a wide open Luther Burden downfield because of a trick play, but it's I'm struggling to remember the Odunze with the busted naked bootleg is like probably the go-to example of his best throw. Well, that's actually not really a throw. That one doesn't shock anybody, I don't think. Like, of course Caleb makes that throw. That's why he was the first pick. That's the specialness that it's like, I wish we saw that a little more often, especially last year, and it's what would make me feel better. But let me finish my point really quick. So what is fake to me about it would be a lot of the stuff was very open. The play calling was excellent. The route combinations were excellent. The make the same stuff look different, the different stuff look the same really popped in that game. So basically, my point being, Caleb flashed that he could be a very good system quarterback in that game many times. That said, the system isn't going anywhere, so I don't care. Whatever makes the stuff happen, that's fine, as long as, unlike Tua Tagovailoa, who for 2.5 years showed himself to be a great system quarterback and made all the throws that he made, but also made no plays of his own. As long as I see you running the system should run itself. But as long as I see you differentiating yourself from Tua by also making some badass throws that only you can make,
you want Purdy, not Garoppolo. You're happy if it's Purdy and not Garoppolo is basically what I'm hearing, right? Where Garoppolo with
even that is.
Up. I mean, you want more than that, obviously.
Right. If Caleb is only Brock Purdy, I will, maybe we'll still be good. But I want to win because of him and not be. And Purdy, you do win because of Purdy, but you know what? It's got to be a step up above
Purdy
that.
Still makes plays, right? And he doesn't make Garoppolo was making mistakes.
Point being, the fakeness was, if there was fakeness to it, which I believe was your word, which is why I'm using this at all. If there was fakeness to it, it's because Ben Johnson is so good at designing plays.
Yeah.
But he's not going anywhere. So, like, that part doesn't worry me. It's going to take me a few weeks to get there fully on Caleb because I need Caleb to show independently, and there's not going to be many opportunities per game for him to show it because Ben is so good. But I need to see that, like, when the shit isn't working, that he can also make it happen. You saw it a few times, for sure.
As long as it's if it's a combination of both of them, it's always going to be really difficult to tell the difference. Now, here's what I'll say. So on that Rome deep pass with the broken coverage, you expect him to make that throw. He has missed that throw a few times. He missed it with DJ the week before, I believe. But I will say,
it's not that you expect it. It's not so much that you expect it. It's that he drafted you to do this.
Yeah, he should. He should.
Not that a quarterback should do it, because very few quarterbacks should do it. But you should do it. You're
wide open like that. I expect an NFL quarterback to connect with it. Otherwise, it shouldn't be.
Maybe, but I guess getting to that spot where there's nobody around you in the first place.
Let me clarify though with the Rome part. The thing that makes that Rome play so nice is it is an improv play. Even with the DJ one, like the DJ one's so hard because it's an improv play, right? I expect anyone to be able to throw off to the sideline wide open like that. Now I don't expect everyone to see mailboxes up. I've improved off of the play, and then I can get to. That's actually what makes it really difficult with the DJ part, right? Is like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. Let me shift over, get my feet set, and throw it. Like the fact, because it's not even my first read, right? I all of a sudden see my wide receiver throw up a mailbox. I gotta get my feet there and make that throw. That's what makes.
You're talking about the touchdown, right?
The touchdown, but also going back to the DJ one, he missed the DJ one specifically because he was in the middle of another read, sees the mailbox, tries to shift over, reset his feet, make that throw. Right?
I don't know what you're talking about with the DJ one. I'm sorry.
DJ Moore the week before had the exact same thing happen where there's a busted coverage, knows that he can get the seam ball, throws up the mailbox. Caleb throws it, it goes out of bounds.
Against the Lions?
Was it the Lions or the Vikings? I can't remember. But it was one of the
I'm just forgetting. It doesn't matter. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
That same thing happens with Rome. He's able to do it. What I do like is the fact that he's seeing that and he's gaining that chemistry with his one that's an option, right? I love the fact that we're coaching that up as a thing. But also, two, the fact that we're seeing that chemistry happening is really nice. That is promising. Now, what I'm going to come back to is something, and I didn't watch JTO the first 2 weeks. I decided to watch JTO the last week, which might give you some credence on the fact that, hey, they're winning. Maybe that is giving me more engaged. Now, I actually was planning on not watching JTO at all, but that game was so good. It's like, let me do it. Specifically because you get upset when I bring up his stuff. There was a play that wide open.
Yes, I would prefer.
It's just being our points.
Original insights.
Yeah. And it would take me watching the All-22 myself, which I can definitely do, but the wide open DJ Moore touchdown was actually a fantastic play from him because he went through 4 reads before throwing that, and he kept on his progressions while scrambling. That was promising. That is what I'm looking for from Caleb. I think that's what a lot of people are looking for when it comes to Caleb. It's because he can make those wild throws. Sometimes maybe not. Like he short-armed one on the run, trying to create to DJ, I think, as well. After making what I thought was an amazing throw to the flat to Rome with pressure in his face and having to like retreat.
Yeah, I talked about that. That's the one. Yeah. That's one. Like everybody saw that and said, "Great throw." For me, that's not the type of throw I'm looking to see out of Caleb because I know he can make that throw. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But
great. So DJ, credit, of course, but also. Yeah, do make that throw.
Here's the thing, though. Getting to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone on your 4th read while scrambling, yes, he's wide open. Yes, some of that goes to Ben Johnson because he's wide open, but it's also the 4th progression, which isn't what you're really trying to scheme up typically to be the open throw, right? So it might have been a combination. I think it was honestly busted coverage. I think the linebacker didn't go back with him.
It's Caleb. It's Caleb creating and the linebacker not knowing exactly what to do in space. But that's what you go with Caleb. And again, it's not. It's just like the Rome and the flat play. It's not exactly the type of throw I'm looking to see more consistently out of Caleb. But if you can make up for the fact that it's not all there over the middle yet with completing the plays off of the great ability to buy time, then you're making up for it and it's a touchdown either way. So what do I care? So that was great. That was a great play. I will say 4th read. I think Ben Johnson said this as well, and JTO apparently said this too. He's going through his progressions, but at a certain point, it's not the same as sitting in the pocket and getting your 4th read.
He
in some ways it's harder, but also you've bought your. I don't think it's harder.
It's harder.
I don't think it's harder. I don't think it's harder.
Be on the run and continue to continue your progressions on the run and think.
Come on, when you're on the run, way more difficult. When you're on the run, you're just looking for who's open. He caught DJ out the corner of his eye because he was getting to DJ, but then it was like, oh, there you go.
I'm going to disagree. That's fine.
I'm not saying personally. I need to be more clear.
Maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance there's that. But he was on his 3rd read, gets a guy in his face, progresses, breaks off to run, keeps his head up, and throws it to DJ. Maybe he sees DJ because that 4th read was open and he was running and so it was open, so he saw it. But also he did get to his 3rd before having to move off of it and shifted his head as he was running right to where his 4th would have been.
Yeah,
so I don't know how much I feel that. And also getting to your 4th progression also tells me that you know your reads, and he was doing it quick enough.
Let me be clear.
Let me finish up my back.
Let me be clear.
Okay, go ahead.
I want it to be understood. I'm just saying it is.
Sorry, you sound like Richard Nixon for a second.
It was not the same thing as sitting in the pocket and getting to your 4th read, which is very, very difficult to do. What I'm just saying is that
So he got to his third. Does
Caleb's
that work?
legs allowed him to even get to that timing. Like
Yeah,
he would not have looked at DJ.
which is why I'm trying to say, though, hold on. We don't know that because, again, as he scrambled, he was going from his third to his fourth.
I misspoke.
It's not like
we have no way of knowing that he would have gotten a DJ. We don't know for sure that he got through his reads as quickly as possible. But what I'm saying is, as a quarterback, the third you go no.
It feels like you're.
Well, it's still elementary to get to 4.
Like
That's not crazy, and you're starting to run, so it's a little easier for you to get there. I'm just saying it's not like this superhuman feat.
I feel like
superhuman feat of intelligence. What I'm saying is he's also superhuman in the fact that he can get out of the pocket and continue to throw the ball accurately, and that's what makes it great.
Playing in structure with pressure in your face is everything that I've been asking for, regardless of how you do it. Let it be a step back throw like Jordan Love does, or having to scramble up the pocket, move, again, not retreating, taking a side step and then scrambling up into the pocket, right? Stepping into the pocket, except it's hard to, because really step into the pocket is what I want to say, but he was more of a scramble. Scrambling up into the pocket the way that Drake May does, for instance, like we talked about when we talked about with him. The fact that he's doing that alone is such a huge thing, right? Like, that's not what we saw last year, in my opinion. And again, another thing we didn't see a lot last year was going through his reads correctly, decisively. He's going a little too quick, to be fair. Actually, this time I think around last year, I saw him going through them slowly. It's almost like his brain would turn off in the pocket as he was going through them. There were times where he was standing there for 4 seconds in the pocket. And it's like
the pacing was wild because other times he was going too slow. Other times he was going too fast. Also,
this year feels like he might be going a little
Our main
too
disagreement about his first game is that I thought he was going even slower than his slowest last week, which did bug me. In the Vikings game, I thought he was going just remarkably slow.
But he was going faster.
It has definitely gotten to the correct tempo in the last couple of weeks.
I think he might be going on a little too fast sometimes. And other people have mentioned this too. It is faster. That first week, and this is where the disagreement, I think, between you and I'm not saying he was going through it at the right pace the first game. I'm saying that he was going through them faster than he was before and that the right pace would come, right? That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I just disagree. I think I saw regression in that aspect. He literally had a worse time to throw than the season average in his rookie year, and it was very noticeable to me. He wasn't doing the weird statue thing, which I haven't really seen it this year at all. I got to think that was I've been trying to parse as objectively as I can what's coaching, what's Caleb, and but that weird tendency where he would just sit there and it was obvious man, a defensive end is about to literally touch you on the arm. You got to move, and he wouldn't do it. That sounds like a weird coaching point that was put into him in some way his first year.
Part of me thinks
I don't think that was a natural thing. I think there was a coaching point man, stay in the pocket, and so he stayed in the pocket. That's what I would imagine happened.
Yeah, last year that happened. Yeah. And that's why I think we talked about that last year too. It's there's something going on there that I think is a coaching point that's really hurting him. And I think it also comes down to the no interceptions thing, the no turnovers. I'd rather have a turnover than a whole bunch of sacks because he's paralyzed and if he should throw it or not because he's so worried about throwing turnovers, right? That's let your defense win the game sometimes hurts your quarterback because it makes him afraid of if he makes a mistake. The big thing, though, that I guess I'm trying to say is, yeah, sure, his time to throw was higher. I think it was 3.3 versus last year was 3.1 something. But also, what I'm trying to get at here, too, is last year I don't think he was going through his reads properly. I don't think he knew a lot of concepts, right? A lot of the concepts we ran, too, were the same concepts over and over and over and over and over again without being different, right?
Right.
Looking different but being the same.
Right.
And
also,
we're seeing a lot of different concepts.
We complained last year there was no built-in easy button, and
this year there is.
And again, it's not that there's a build. If the NFL was so easy to build an easy button, it would just be,
right. But that's a Ben Johnson.
You would just
point.
take that every time. But Ben is good at it, and he gets the easy button. But when that's taken away, which it is, generally I would say the easy button is taken away on 75% of snaps. But then there's other stuff going on that works.
The other thing too, though, is remember it's a Flores defense, right? And it's the first game with a Flores defense, so you can't. I know that we've talked about the tendencies tend to be the same.
Sure,
They're a bit different.
Not to cut you off too much, but we're 3 weeks in the future. Like, I'm just saying what I saw at the time, and I think I was justified.
I saw things that I think are justified too, because I've seen those steps that say, okay, what I saw there was right. It's going to take a little bit of time, and we've been seeing it. And he's honestly taken bigger steps than I've expected over these. I was expecting like what we saw, and again, because it's the Dallas Cowboys defense, things were wide open, so maybe we'll see some regression there. But even the Lions game, what I saw in the Lions game, I was expecting a few more weeks. The way that he was going through things, I was expecting a few more weeks. What I saw in the Lions game, I thought was a lot better. And that big of a step, again, maybe didn't show out on the stat score or the box score. Maybe didn't show up in the box score, but it's difficult to say how I've been trying to say this for a bit. Sometimes the inaccuracies come from not being fully comfortable, but he's doing the right things, and they will go away as those right things continue to happen, and he's got enough reps doing them and he gets comfortable with it.
That leads me into a quick compliment sandwich, and then I think you could say whatever you want, but I think we got to get off Caleb here.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Not a compliment sandwich. I think it might just be a compliment cake. I'm going to start negative, and I think I'll be positive afterwards.
So the icing is the negativity. That's interesting.
Yeah. Wait. A reverse compliment cake. What is the thing that's like really good until you get to the bottom that's dog shit? That I guess.
No. Well, you're
opposite. What's
opposite.
Dog shit on top and it's bad on the bottom, or
great everywhere else?
Dog shit on top. Good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
because everything always has a good, like, lasagna is fantastic up top. Tarts are delicious up top because you've got all those the sugary fruits and stuff like that. I don't fucking know. Pie crust is delicious.
Maybe pie. Maybe it's a pie, because crust is good, but I do want to get into that nice middle.
Yeah, and the bottom crust is better than the top crust.
You know what? To make it a pie, I will purposely say something mean about him that I wasn't planning to at the end. So here's what I think is interesting.
But the bottom crust is still good because it's like
here's something interesting that you and I have not talked about. We first drive of the game, first play of the game is a play action layer concept. Colston Loveland is very much open.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb unleashes an absolute dog shit throw on play action.
Mm-hmm.
I probably say to my buddy that I'm with the bar at, yeah, that's fucking Caleb for you. Something of that sort. That is a throw that every NFL quarterback has to make 10 times out of 10. And you cannot miss that throw.
Yep.
Hey, it's a pie. I'm going nice here. Give me a second.
Shoot.
That drive stalls out. We punt the ball. Cowboys. I believe on that drive is when Tyreek does one of the best things I've ever seen on defense. And we'll cover defense briefly at least. I believe the first play of the next drive is, to the naked eye, the exact same play that Caleb missed. Loveland is there again. The throw is not perfect, but Loveland goes up and catches it up like this.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love that. Love going to something that you knew worked and trying it again. That was great. It's not something, it's almost like a cartoon thing where it's like the cartoon characters are trying to solve a problem. It's like a Tom and Jerry thing. Like Tom is trying to figure out how to get Jerry. And it's like, well, the mousetrap in the sandwich didn't work, so on to the next thing that's not going to work. Why don't you try the fucking mousetrap in the sandwich again? Because it almost did work, and Jerry just got you on that one. Try it again. I don't see. That might be an insane metaphor for you. I don't know. Sometimes just try it again.
You're stretching there, but it's barely working. I got you.
It
Because
works.
I know exactly what you're saying.
I'm not the problem. I'm just saying it works. I don't know if you get it.
I get the metaphor a bit. I know because I already know what the hell's going on there.
When something didn't work the first time, that doesn't mean abandon it. That is great advice to Tom the cat, and that is great advice for a football coach, is that it worked. You did it again, and it worked. And what I will say, and then what I continue to notice throughout the game that we've not talked about, is a huge kryptonite of Caleb is play action, and a huge thing Ben Johnson wants to do is play action. They ran a lot of play action in that game, especially early. A lot of play action to in my opinion, a part of it is we don't need play action to set up the run.
You need the run.
But we need to do it to. We need to do play action to do something. And they ran a lot of it. And since that first dog shit throw, Caleb was on the money. His head turned around very quickly off play action, like quicker than most quarterbacks turn their heads off play action. It felt like Ben was dialing up the play action shots, but in a way where he was coached and took the coaching in such a way that he very quickly was looking downfield and giving himself time, even though he's not great at play action. And he was great at it.
To be clear, too, his fakes are still very good. Like, even with the head flipping around quickly, his fakes are still like, he gets that ball out.
The fakes are convincing. I did not know what was happening when it was happening, but I was noticing the head was flipping around maybe a quarter second sooner than normally, and it was effective. And maybe it won't be so effective against a non-dog shit defense. We'll see.
Yep.
We won't see it next week because it's another dog shit defense. But I'm just saying, again, the compliment is the play caller quarterback
I get it.
Symbiotic relationship is really working there. And then one more mean thing I could say is
you don't have to end with a mean thing. The bottom crust on the pie
it's got to be a pie. It's got to be a pie.
The bottom crust on a pie is delicious. It's the best part of the crust.
It is.
It's
better.
got
yeah.
You don't have to.
All right, then I'll say something neutral. I'll say something neutral. I think he needs. I don't mean this in the white guy way. I mean this in a what I do believe looks handsomest on him way. Cut the hair a little bit, little haircut, little doesn't need. You can have your hair like I think when he's just a little shorter. I'm not saying buzz cut by no means. Cut it a little bit and you look really, really good, Caleb.
Yep. I think he's a good looking dude.
Caleb, when I put out, I got one. Wait, is it? Oh, it's shit! It's not until next season. Not until next season can I put in my quarterback hotness rankings. He'll be top 10 easily. I do it every 4 years. One is going to be Burrow. Burrow's blowing away the competition, but Caleb's got a shot at top 5.
Burrow's a good looking dude. I think Josh Allen's definitely grown into from a weird looking dude to a good looking dude.
Oh, Allen's trajectory, because I ranked him in 2018, then I ranked him again in 2022. I'm going to rank him again in 2026 unless he dies. It was from like 14 to like 6.
Yeah, he's probably up there in the top 5.
It keeps getting better.
Yep, he's probably up there in the top 5. So coming back to your point, it comes back to what I've been saying, though. It comes to reps, right? He is a quarterback. And
reps of being hot? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it comes to reps of being hot. He just has to keep trying. No, it's the repetition on the play action. He didn't do it a lot, right? And I mean, we saw I remember last year we talked about this, and we brought up Aaron Rodgers not liking it. But he was still very good at it when he did it. A lot of quarterbacks do not like turning their back to the defense, but I think the more reps you get of it, because what ends up happening is, and Dan Orlovsky brought this up, and I hate that he brought it up because it's something that I already knew and we talked about before.
I honestly, you could have just sold this as your own point. Don't
because it's got brought up on radio.
Don't bring up that man's name.
Okay,
I hate that man. I hate that man.
I hear you, but if it's brought up on Chicago radio and I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, you guys didn't know this, right? When I hear it on Chicago radio and then I bring it up on the podcast, it makes it seem like I'm stealing somebody else's point. So I'm just going to say it. And also with the caveat of, I've said this before.
And my caveat is fuck you, Dan Orlovsky. I don't care what you said.
The thing that happens is as you turn your head, you have no idea as your back is turned, you're not seeing the defense. So of course, obviously when you turn your head, you are seeing a picture you weren't ready for. And the way that he put it was really good. Because the way that I've always said is you can't see the defense until you turn around. The way that he said is you're seeing a picture that you had no idea what it was going to look like. That's a great way of putting it. And I really like how he said it. That really puts the point across. This is the first time you were seeing that picture. You didn't know what it was going to look like. You turn around and now you see the picture. And so you have to get used to seeing a picture that you're not expecting the moment you turn around, right? And then going from there to diagnose. That is the hard part. It's like you don't know what the picture, or not expected. I shouldn't say that. That you're seeing a picture that you, for the first time, that you did not see from the beginning, unfold, it is the first time you're seeing it as you turn around. Does that make sense?
I think
He put it in better words than
what is
I tried to
probably
paraphrase for
true.
him.
There's no way Orlovsky said it this way either, and maybe you'll disagree. But what I think the better metaphor, I'm not even going to do a metaphor. The better way to put it is you envision something in your mind, and then when you turn around, it looks a little differently.
It's a little messier. It's going to be a little bit messier.
Like,
sure.
It's not, this guy's not right here, he's over there. And it's like, but now that safety's over there, so it's like you do have to recalibrate on the fly.
There's also post-snap rotations.
You do have an idea of what to expect. The rest of the routes.
Most of the time. You do have some post-snap rotations and some disguises if they're coached well enough, aren't just telltale signs pre-snap, right, that are going to happen, right? If you're facing Mike McDonald and sometimes even with Flores' defenses, you're going to get a rotation that you may not have been expecting. And that is going to be a picture that you didn't expect to see as you turn around and you got to diagnose, right? But you are seeing a messier picture of what you thought you might have seen pre-snap most of the time. You have to get used to seeing that, not seeing it unfold initially and getting it mid-picture of what, like mid-video. That picture now continues as a video, right? You're getting it middle of it. You're not starting from the beginning, from the snap. Which comes back to what I would always say is you're not seeing the defense. You have your back turned to it until you snap around, right? And then you're going for the play. He's not used to that because he has played from the shotgun his whole career, right? And a lot of quarterbacks are like this, to be fair. I think you don't see a lot of under center stuff in the NFL as much as you used to because quarterbacks are now playing so much spread from, high school on up that I remember we were a wing T offense when I was in 8th grade. We turned to pistol, and now I think we're shotgun in my high school, right? When I was in high school, it was a pistol. You're seeing because when I was in high school, I think that's when spread really started.
2009?
We were playing pistol, yes. You started to see the spread. Don't ask. My coach, yes.
Okay.
What I'm trying to get at is you're seeing a lot of quarterbacks now who don't play a lot of under center coming into the league. It's a lot harder, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It takes a while to get used to it. And so coming to your point of he did play a lot better from play action. Yeah, he's getting the reps, right? That first one to Loveland, starting a game off, he's probably a little bit like a little fidgety, et cetera. He's getting more.
He knows he has a great shot play dialed up, and he might have overthought it.
He was just a little uncomfortable. And that little bit of uncomfort within the not because of the defense or anything like that, just because of the play setup and then the context of it being the first play. That might make you a little airy. I think the longer you see him in this offense, those are going to go away.
Yeah, I think there's also probably a slight element of trusting that Ben Johnson has called a play where if Ben Johnson tells you, hey, if they give you this look, this is likely to be open. If they give us, just trust me. I know it sucks not to be able to see what's going on, but trust me, this is going to make this happen, and this guy's going to be open. So look at that guy. If he's not open, then this guy's probably open. And if not, throw the ball away.
I think less so with that one than the Luther Burden crosser, deep crosser that he threw. Because with that one, he was wide ass open, and he had a little bit of time to see it, right? So it's like, but the trust comes in, I think, in the middle of the field, where it's like, if you see this, right, it's going to be open, just throw it, because in the middle of the field, things get so muddy because you got so many bodies there. And he threw a nice layered throw where if you don't, you have to react almost as the linebackers working up, and I think it was I can't remember if it was a safety or just the linebackers or who, as they're working up to DJ, as DJ's doing a deep hank, right, and you've got a crosser behind him. As they're working up to him, you just have to trust that they're going to work up to him. I don't know if he sees them working up to him. I can't say, but this is one of those things where it's like you're going to trust the fact that those guys aren't going to drop back into that lane, and you got to rip that deep crosser, right? I think that some of it is a trust to it with what you're saying as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you. But
and also that comes back to something that you've always wanted to see from Caleb, throwing intermediate middle. We've been seeing some of that. Even some of them were some bad throws, but we're seeing him being willing to rip it. And I think those bad throws are going to go away again with comfort.
Selfishly, as somebody who loves the honorable quarterback more than any other quarterback, I'd like to just see one straight from play action, or no play action, straight from shotgun, I should say. or some such, a straight drop back,
like a Matthew Stafford,
and just rip the goddamn thing. I want to see one. I know you can do it. Just do it.
Yep.
It wasn't necessary last game. There probably was an opportunity or two against the Vikings. I don't remember the Lions game quite well enough to remember if there was an opportunity that then got out of hand real quick. There was definitely an opportunity or two against the Vikings. He didn't take it. Kind of reminds me of the old Twitter fight I got in. Not even fight. Also Blue Sky with the guy who was half defending Marvin Harrison on Kyler Murray's interception yesterday.
So I was steel manning that argument.
We ended in a fine place. But what happened was Harrison ran a bad route. It was clearly designed to be a 15-yard dig, maybe with the option to sit down if it's against zone. One way or the other, Harrison fucked it up because it was obvious he needed to run the dig or the post or whatever it was that he was supposed to be doing after the 15-yard break.
You stopped.
The other thing the guy said to me on Blue Sky was, either way, I'm pretty sure Kyler was not supposed to throw to a draped receiver off of his back foot. And what I wanted to say and what I let off of was, first of all, off your back foot is terminology that I believe left the football lexicon amongst smart people about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
off your back foot is fucking fine. If you can't throw it off your back foot, get the fuck out of the league. Second of all, what Kyler was doing was anticipating his number 4 overall pick receiver breaking correctly and throwing a ball with conviction over the middle to a guy who's supposed to be running his route.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, the one thing I will grant is that if anybody's aware of what this specific throw was, because it ended in a Kobe Bryant interception, I believe the throw is probably errant and bad no matter what, but the decision was fine. And what I would like to see a little bit more often out of Caleb is that throw. And I don't care if it gets interception because the receiver ran a bad route. I'll be very mad at the time, but in terms of if Caleb is good or not, or is a level above what I think he might be, it's you make that throw. Throw.
I think he's been making those throws more consistently. He's just been errant on a few of them, so they don't stand out. He has been.
That's maybe a little
even
true.
Out of
you know me. I'm on this specific thing like a fucking hawk. I've seen maybe.
And this is where I feel like even the Vikings game he's made it, and I wanted to be like it was not a great throw. I think he overthrew that one. I can't remember if it's Vikings or Lions. I'm getting both of those games probably mixed up now. That's been like.
I'm realizing the Lions one is really, really shaky in my head.
My mind.
I remember coming out of that thinking he was good, but I can't remember a specific thing that happened in that.
Yeah, I same here, and that's I think that's why I keep going to the Vikings one because that's the one I remember the most out of those two. and I do know that we're not alone on thinking that was a good game for him. I've heard like smarter than us, right? Or smart NFL people that cover the NFL, not the Bears, come out of that game being like, no, what we saw from Caleb, especially in the first half, looked good.
Despite what I believe was a D- first game, the man is 10th overall in PFF grade. So the other two must have been great. Or I could be completely wrong about how bad the first game was, but I really don't think so.
Yeah. So like, how do I put this? I think he came out with a positive EPA out of that game too, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas he came out with a -1. No, I think he came out with a -1 because of the sacks. Sorry, I lied. He came out with a positive for the Vikings. I gotta double check. Anyway, the thing there is, where was I going with my point before we got into the Vikings part? Oh yeah, no, that's what the thing that I'm trying to say though. That's the part that I'm like, that's what I'm saying is he's willing to make these shots. And I think that as he gets more comfortable doing it, as he gets more comfortable in the offense and going through his reads and tying again, he keeps bringing it up, and I agree with this now. I think it's less of a hesitation thing. It's almost he's either going too quick, and his feet aren't as quick as his eyes have become, right? So he starts throwing it without his feet fully set, and that's why he's been errant. And I think the more comfortable he gets, the more reps he gets, and the more comfortable he gets going through his reads, right? The more you're going to see the consistency start to come in. Sure. It's not because he's a bad like I think some people on like Reddit and Bears Reddit especially, or like Twitter, it's like they think that the accuracy issues is because this is just him as a quarterback. No, when he makes the throw, he can make any throw on the field accurately if it's just a throw that he's being asked to make and there's nothing else there that's changing it up. The accuracy issues are coming from a comfort level that is throwing off of his mechanics, which are normal things to see. PFF did a deep dive on quarterback accuracy throughout their career. And what they found is your accuracy starts, especially on the deep ball, starts to go up significantly the longer you are in your career. Specifically, they found because you're getting more comfortable within concepts and seeing the defenses and what you're saying and what you're doing and all the reps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That was basically their conclusion. I think we're going to see that a lot with Caleb because Caleb has fundamentals down. He has his mechanics are super clean in any other situation. So once he gets to a point where he can do it within the new things he's being asked to do, which is going to come with reps, we'll see all that unfold. I've gone from like a little bit lower on Caleb to like, okay, no, my optimism's back.
Yeah, you I guess the only difference for me, and truly no need for a counter because I'm fully aware that I'm still just inclined to be pessimistic, but I guess I'll say two things really quick. Is that when I watch him, I don't necessarily see a guy who's necessarily going to get that much better in terms of accuracy. Like I kind of feel like the accuracy issues probably will plague him a little bit.
His feet a little bit, and then
he does, and it'll improve. But I still feel like the accuracy, like I would not be surprised just watching him in the NFL right now because I think a lot of the time he just gets excited.
Yeah,
and I don't. Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know, but I think sometimes he just sees something. He's like, "Oh."
Well, the more you do so, those situations you get into where you get super excited, and then you like because of that you're like, "Oh my god!" And then the more you do it, like maybe sex, the more you do it, the less excited you get, right? Like that is going to be, I think, the same thing here as he gets more NFL games, and he'll start to calm down, right?
Okay, so I'm going to say another couple of things. Your example has not been my experience.
Oh, the first time you had sex, you weren't a little nervous?
I'm not going to elaborate. That is my answer to that is that you're in the wrong area. But
were you much older? Like, kidding.
My joke is supposed to be that I keep coming very early.
Oh. Damn, I gave you too much
credit. I don't want to I always get a little annoyed when it's like, well, Josh Allen did this. It's like, yeah, Josh Allen is clearly in hindsight one of the most unicorn motherfuckers in the world. I get it. The
Allen's trajectory is completely different. Let's be very fucking clear here. Nobody can compare it to Josh Allen, but there have been a lot of quarterbacks whose accuracy have gone up completely.
Yeah. Give me a sec, man, because I do want to get off this really quick, but I just want to get this out. You can counter if you want or whatever. But
it wasn't like PFF based it just off Josh Allen is what
I just sometimes do see some things where it's like, man, that was all completely screwed up, and the play seemed to very much suggest that you could have planted your feet and thrown the ball. And I get it, yeah, reps, and reps are definitely going to help him. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
I do think there's a chance that slightly average or maybe slightly below average accuracy might plague him for more than we would like to. However, I also, my last point on this is also, even if that is the case, which it was during this Cowboys game where he just played the game of his life, basically, doesn't necessarily have to matter. It might still be fine.
I think I would agree with you there. I would, just really quickly, I would completely agree with you there that even if I'm wrong and he never gets to a point where he's comfortable where his feet will start to settle way more often, the consistency will come. With everything else you got, and especially with Ben Johnson, who will give you some nice, easy plays, easy chunk plays, which I think we're like top 5 in the league on explosives, which is wild. Even with because you have that, especially, right? Even with the accuracy stuff, it might not matter. It might still be like we can have a top 10 offense year in and year out because
you missed this one, but at least you didn't take a sack.
Yeah,
it's second and 10. It's not second and 17.
Because of the other things you were seeing with the growth, etc., you're going to start seeing like some really good quarterback play outside of that.
That's why a popular comparison for him was Kyler Murray as a prospect, and I believe I am willing to get to the point of. So before I said my floor was to a trajectory in a much different way. I'm willing to bump it up to Kyler at this point. Like I have a hard time believing that
I think Kyler's the floor.
Won't beat Kyler.
I think Kyler's the floor at this point.
Oh,
That's where I'm getting at.
That's absolutely crazy. That's a crazy homer thing to say.
I don't think Kyler's been.
But I'm willing to say that
recently.
I think Kyler is taking a big chunk of the bell curve.
I think I shouldn't say Kyler's the floor. I think Kyler is if you do the bell curve, right?
I mean, the floor is that he like murders somebody tomorrow and he's never plays again.
If you're doing two, we're going 2 standard deviations away. He's in jail.
Right.
The 0.1% chance?
To say nothing of Caleb's upbringing, but he is from DC.
Oh no. That's why they sent the National Guard.
And maybe right?
Crime rates down. Guys.
Law and Order. Olivia Benson.
Let's start taking care of those red states and their crime rates, huh? How about that? The thing that
I guess.
I personally think he's already showing me a lot of. I mean, Kyler is better right now. He's already showing me that, like, with a little bit more reps, he'll get to Kyler. In my opinion, like, he could do that pretty easily. I think with what he's showing me, his trajectory is a better Kyler because I think he's putting in the work. Unlike that article we saw from Tyler Dunn, I do think he's putting in the work, and it sounds like from what Ben Johnson is, he is a quarterback.
It is wildly overstated how little work Kyler puts in.
I agree with you. I'm sure he still puts in work, right? And watches film and stuff like that and isn't on Call of Duty all that often. But I mean, there is something to the fact that Kyler Murray always gets a lot worse when a new Call of Duty comes out. So, like,
almost undoubtedly. At a certain point, correlation is causation. It just is. But still.
I do think he could be I think the trajectory is a much better Kyler Murray, in my opinion. And I don't think that's crazy because I don't think Kyler's been that good the last couple of years. And to be fair,
there's a standard deviation above Jordan Love, and there's a standard deviation above of this, and a standard deviation above of Aaron Rodgers, and then one more above of Josh Allen, which maybe if that is your hierarchy is if you don't believe that Josh Allen is currently a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers ever was, you might find what I just said to be silly. Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers ever was.
Is Josh Allen the best quarterback in the league right now?
Yes. I got there last year. I didn't think I'd ever be able to. I didn't think I was going to get there at any point in the next 5 years, but it's in your toss up. The toss up you're about to say,
what is it?
It's still Mahomes too.
No, I was going to say mine was a toss up between him after last year. It's probably a toss up between him and Lamar, and there's part of me that also wants to put Burrow up there as like a 3-way tie. Because of how fucking good Burrow was last year. He should have won the MVP if the Bengals were any, like...
Wait, I'm sorry. Say your 3-way tie? Your potential 3-way tie?
Burrow, Allen, and Herbert. Not Herbert, sorry. Burrow, Allen, and Lamar.
That's good. That's crazy. I was not willing to go off of Mahomes until last season when I legitimately thought Allen doing things against very similar looks that Mahomes was refusing to do. And I changed my mind. But Mahomes is still 2, for sure, for me.
Here's the thing. Mahomes is going to be 2 for me specifically because of resume. It's going to be very difficult for me to be able to argue anyone outside of Allen over.
It's also still the way that he affects defenses. They still have to play in a much stupider way that if Mahomes would just take the thing and be more patient.
Mahomes has been more patient.
It's a give and take. Well, I'm sorry. It's the opposite. I meant the opposite.
I wish Mahomes was less patient.
I've ruined my credibility because I said literally the opposite of what I meant. So never mind. Mahomes needs to be more aggressive again. He needs to understand the ways to attack this a little better. That said, and that's why Allen is overtaking him. Allen is attacking the same.
But I also think Lamar has found a way to take those and make explosives out of them, maybe in a different way, which is why I think that maybe people are not. I think Mahomes is still elite. Don't get me wrong. And Mahomes is Mahomes. He can win any game over any of them anytime he wants, right? Like, it is a toss-up no matter when they're playing. When you get to that point, between those quarterbacks, it really comes down to which one has their team fill them first, right? Between any 4 of them, to me, it's going to be which team fills them first, not do they win. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I guess this is going to sound very white of me, but it's still, for me, the tiebreaker. You have to have a tiebreaker because it is such a close 4-way race. And for me, it is that Lamar does not win purely from the pocket when he needs to as often as those 2 do.
I hate that.
He doesn't need to that often,
Mm.
but sometimes he does need to, and he does not do it as frequently as those two.
I still think he's a fantastic thrower of the ball.
Top 5 in the league. Top 5
Yes.
pocket passer in the league.
And then you add his legs
He's
to
still
it.
notably behind Allen and Mahomes. And also
Yes.
Allen and Mahomes also went with their legs. So it's just like that's got to be the differentiator for me.
Yeah, but he wins with his legs in such a better and different way. But that's why I'm like, you still give him a little, I don't know.
It's true.
I think it evens them out is what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, they're a little bit better, but then he's also a little bit better here, which is why I think that evens them out. And then Burrow, it's hard because I think Burrow's so fucking, and he's also beaten Mahomes in clutch game, like big games too. It's like, you've got to put all 4 of them there. And I think Justin, like it's, in my opinion, it's been a 3. If we're going to put Allen above Mahomes, then it's at least a 3-way tie for second, in my opinion. Because I do agree, Allen is so damn good.
Burrow is such an enigma.
So damn good.
The way that Burrow plays, it's like I genuinely can't think of a comparison. He is. I can't really describe it. He's
the most pocket quarterback out of.
He big play hunts. There's no part of the field he avoids. He also takes a shit ton of sacks that are his fault, which is almost contradictory of what I expect of like
his sacks were
like
down last year.
Aaron Rodgers, the ultimate dishonorable quarterback, even when he was the best quarterback in the league.
Yes,
he takes a lot of sacks. He throws the ball away a good amount. His version of a shot play is a 20-yard back shoulder on 4 verts, looking the safeties towards the middle and taking a back shoulder to James Jones. Burrow doesn't play it like that. Burrow will do whatever the hell, but if it's not, his version of safety is still taking the sack. But he's also probably more of a big play hunter than all of them, and maybe not more of a risk taker, but more of a big play hunter than all of them. So it's like the combination of things are just like very like I can't think of who the quarterback like Joe Burrow is. I have trouble putting him in a box other than just I love him. He's my favorite player in the league that is not on the Bears.
The thing with Joe Burrow, though, too, is he said it himself. He's like, I take him on 3rd downs. And in my opinion, if you're going to punt after that down, if you got a coach that's going to punt it after that down,
that's pretty true.
Take the damn do it until you take the sack. Why? Don't do what Russell Wilson did. Don't throw it away, right? Like, take the sack and throw it. Try to make it tight.
So I think where I might disagree with Joe Burrow is I would throw an interception instead to at least try.
I would agree there, but I think that the difference between the two is a lot smaller when it's 3rd down and mostly 3rd down when you're taking the sacks. It's not a 2nd down drive ruiner or 1st down drive ruiner, right? And we'd have to look into the numbers of how often of them are actually on 3rd down versus him just saying that. Also, last year his sack totals were down, though we saw them jump up a little bit this year. His offensive line has been atrocious his whole career.
Yeah, it's just funny. Awful. I guess the point with Burrow for me is like, I think the guy who makes everybody say "wow" is Allen. And definitely Mahomes back in the day, and still occasionally
Burrow's
Mahomes,
not as flashy looking,
and then Lamar. But for me, when Burrow does something, like he's the one that makes me say "wow" the most because it's like, how the fuck did you do it? Like, I guess actually. Stafford is still number 1 in that category for me. But number 2 is probably Burrow. I'm just like,
I think they do it the same way, though.
Why did you know that guy was going to be open? Like, yes, but without the
honorableness. Like Stafford's more honorable in how he does it, I think. But they're both quarterback technicals. It's like incredibly technical shit that you did as a quarterback. Like the way you made that throw, where you put that throw, how you threw. Like there's just so much. It's the arm talent of it that makes it incredible.
I know Jamar was running an option route there. How did you know Jamar was going to do that when like I couldn't? I still have watched this replay 3 times and I couldn't tell.
How did you layer that throw? How did you layer that throw in such a perfect way to put it on his hands? Like like we talked about the back shoulder, right? So sure, but when he throws a back shoulder, he throws it in a point where it's like you're throwing it so that the cornerback is now as far away from what's it called, Jamar Chase as possible. So now Jamar Chase can make yak off of it, even though he was draped before you made that throw, right? Like, how do you do that? It's the same thing. Stafford's the same way, except Stafford does it in the honorable. We need to. I know we were making fun of it, but I hate saying it.
We didn't publish the episode we made fun of Honorable. Just know we're saying it. We're saying it sarcastically. It's what Derek Klassen term.
Derek Klassen. Yeah, it's Derek Klassen, the athletic
pocket quarterback. And the pocket quarterback would be black. Geno Smith is the second most honorable quarterback in the league behind Stafford, so it has nothing to do with race. Don't get out of here. But we're using it sarcastically because we think it's a very cursed term, but it's funny to use, and it's a shorthand for understanding a quarterback who plays like Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford will throw it while having a body on top of him, whereas I think Burrow will like sometimes swallow the trigger right as he's getting sacked. He doesn't have the I'm throwing it as I'm about, like he'll throw it as he's about to get hit before he gets hit, but he's not going to throw it as he's got a body draped on him, etc., which I think really does make a huge difference. So anyway, we went on a long tangent there. Let's get back to the Bears. We talked
that's my cursed football mind of like just saying like any plebeian could watch Allen, Mahomes, and Jackson and say, "Wow, I'm so smart that I'm watching Burrow," and say, "Wow." Anyway, the whole discussion was just the tears that Caleb could get into. But right now, I think he's pretty safely proven to me throughout 2 good games and 1 bad game that he's more on the Kyler Murray tier, which I do believe is a tier above Tua Tagovailoa tier. Where I was
you say
worried
projection or where he's at? Because you said projection.
A little bit of both. I think. I don't want to project too much growth out of a guy who sucked absolute dick last year. It's.
I think with the
I think I'm being generous. I think I'm being generous saying that he could be as good as Kyler Murray, who has been a top 15 quarterback every single year that he's ever been in the NFL. So I think I'm being generous, but I'm allowing room for, literally in 2 days they're going to play the Raiders. If they lose 38-14,
we had a
we're going to have a totally different tone. I'm not going to allow myself to get into a different.
We had a conversation off pod. We had a conversation off pod where you said, I don't know if I can still see him becoming one of the elites, and that's what makes me sad. Do you still fully believe that?
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be as good as
the
4 guys we said. I don't think he'll ever be as good as the 4 guys we said, and I don't think he'll ever be as good as Herbert, who's an honorary 5th. Stafford, well, he's not honorary 5th. He just is 5th. Stafford is 6th. I think the best I could hope for, realistically, like 95th percentile, is like as good, certainly not the same thing, but as effective as like Dak Prescott, which I'll take. It just upsets me that I really do have trouble seeing the path to being as good as one of those top 5.
I'll say this. The combination of the two, I think, will be with Ben Johnson there, obviously, will make people start.
It could be as effective. It could be as effective.
No, and I do think that there is I personally think with what I've seen so far in 3 weeks and knowing the context of everything else around him, as long as he continues to put in the work that they're saying he's putting in, and he continues to push that to growth, and if he gets comfortable, I truly do think that top 5 is like really back on the table. Which
I hate to harp on this. But you said if he continues to do the work that they're saying he's putting in.
Yep.
What does bug me is that we
have to believe what they're saying.
The nebulous they
has
to even say it.
Right, because they keep getting asked. To be fair, they're getting asked about it specifically because of the Dunn shit. To be very clear, the reason why they're even saying it is because Ben Johnson, since that Dunn thing came out, has kept getting asked about how is he doing, like what is the work ethic, like not the work ethic. They're not asking it outright, but it's coded that way, if that makes sense.
Well, while the Dunn article, Tyler Dunn?
Yeah, Tyler Dunn.
While Tyler Dunn's article was entirely from the perspective of very much bias and their own self-interest coaches, there is undoubtedly truth to it.
Oh, I agree with you.
There's undoubtedly truth to Caleb Williams saying nobody taught me how to watch film. There's undoubtedly
their
truth
way of
to
teaching
both
him how to watch
sides.
film in that article too was.
But the article was very detailed, and he probably had some very bad habits that were innate to him coming in.
Yep.
And if Ben Johnson can get him to stop doing that, great. But there are a lot of variables in my mind where I'm not going to say this or that. I can't imagine how you disagree. Quickly. I'm being so measured about this.
I know. This is where I disagree, though, is because I know there's some truth to it, and I agree with you there. I personally think that he was one of those guys who's like, you need – because I'm the same way with a lot of shit. if I don't have somebody being on my ass about some things, I can get really fucking lazy because I'm smart. For instance, I'm smart enough.
Couldn't be
in
more
high
the
school,
same.
I never had to fucking.
You and
try.
I could not be more the same. It is exactly the same thing.
And I truly think that the coaching staff last year, I think that the coaching staff last year told him, "What the fuck's the point at this point? Like, I don't trust you guys to get me there. And when I don't trust somebody to get me somewhere, I'm not gonna put it it's not that I've given up or anything like that. It's just that like it becomes so much harder to put in the work you need to put in as an NFL player to do it. And I truly think that's probably where he was at a certain point. Was like,
we're spending so much time on this, but I really do have one more thing I gotta counter on. That is that I think the difference between myself and, yes, I am a business intelligence specialist at a analytics company, a small analytics company. But when I see in myself that I am bad at this, no matter what my leadership is, I am doing worse than my peers. I then work harder to make sure I'm as good as my peers. And currently, I'm about as good as my peers. Not as good, but good enough. I don't think I'm going to get fired anytime soon. But so there's this double-edged sword there with Caleb where even if the coaching was bad, did Caleb not understand at some point last year that he was doing very poorly and needed to work harder, if not for his coaches, for himself and his teammates and et cetera? And also, does Caleb think that based on the fact that his stat line was something like, 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, that he had a good year? Because he had a really, really bad year.
3,800 yards, 20-something touchdowns.
Right, but the year was bad. So I wonder, that's a part of it, is like, and I guess the latter is maybe a point in his favor of like, well, I don't need to work any harder. I'm doing fine on my own. But like, he just was wrong. Like, I hope he doesn't think that last year was an acceptable way to play quarterback.
Yeah, for a rookie, those stats were really good. But it doesn't mean that the stats. Yeah, coming back
it failed the eye test even for a rookie though, which bugs me a little bit. There's a lot of ways you go. You're valid. You're valid for sure.
And I'm not
going to step out on the ledge when we have a game against an easy defense in 2 days.
Yep.
And it could blow up in our faces. So I'm
really quickly, though,
I hope you're right.
The other thing too is I need somebody when I have an idea. I need somebody to push back on my ideas, right? So like when Caleb says, "Can we do this?" and they just cave to it, the way that Tyler Dunn says that the coaching staff kept caving to him, like that. I think there was a reason why Caleb's like, "I need to be coached harder. I need a coach that gets on me." And I think a lot of it comes down to, hey, if I have something that you don't disagree with, don't just fucking tell me, "Yeah, we can do it that way." Push back. And I think we heard something very indicative of that in the press conference today. I sent you the screenshot of what Jason Leisure tweeted. It was in the press conference today where he goes,
just the long diatribe that Johnson went on about how he coaches. I loved it. It was nice.
We have to have those conversations. We might disagree, right? But I'm not here to be his cheerleader. And I think it comes down to that. Like, that's what I would want. That's what I would need to get better at something, is somebody who's going to be there and challenge. Like, I get up on a whiteboard as a software engineer. I need you to challenge my design, and we need to have an honest conversation where our feelings are put aside, right? To figure out what the best solution is. I love that. That's what makes me love my job and gives me passion for it. That's probably what I think Caleb is also saying within there, is like, hey, if I'm like trying to figure something out here, don't just tell me, yeah, you're right, or like get quiet and not push back or not want to coach me, which is exactly what happened last year, even though the coaches don't want to say it, because they also said it at the same time of not wanting to say it, right? In that article of like, oh yeah, we caved into him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We were like, we weren't coaching him and telling him like what he was doing wrong. That is an issue, man. And that's where
for sure. It's right there in the article. That's true. But then it does come back to, and I'm not,
that's where I'm like, that's probably the slightest of devil's advocate. It's like, so what does he got to work at if he's not being told how to fucking work?
The slightest of devil's advocate of like, then don't come in with the posture of like, well, I talked it over with my dad, and against his best wishes, I'm willing to come to the team with the number 1 overall pick. Fuck off. Don't even say that to anybody. Shut your ass up. Come in here and work, or don't work. I don't care. But don't give the coaching staff the impression that they have to cater to you, so that you're kept happy that we made you the number 1 pick.
To be clear, we don't know if he gave them that. He just said, "I'm willing to come here." Pace polls. Jesus, that's the first time I've done that in a while. Poles was the one who seemed to really install that, and there's a lot of things on there that whole series I think is a much worse look for Poles than Caleb.
We'll get to Poles another time.
Yeah. Poles, it seems like, was the one who was kind of like, no, we want.
In fact, maybe later in this episode through a different lens, actually. But,
yeah. But sorry. let's come back. Let's get off Caleb right now. Oh, one last thing I want to say on the quarterbacks. Justin Herbert. I'm really mad at myself because for how many years have I been saying Justin Herbert's going to get up there where people are going to be talking about him like he might be one of the top quarterbacks. He might be a top.
Who the hell told you to come off of it?
I got so annoyed so many years. I had so many years of fucking saying that.
When did you come off of it?
I think like last year was the last time. I
never came off of it.
I mean, I still believed it, but I didn't say it. I didn't say it strongly. There were times where I was saying he could become the number one, I think the best quarterback in the league. And he's starting to look like that. And I don't think he can
because he's too much of a contemporary of Josh Allen. But he could be too. He could be too.
He looks fucking amazing. And also, Quentin Johnston, I hate you for now looking good because my draft take on you was so spot on up until this year. And I'm more than happy to take the L, though, if you continue to look this good and you continue to make my boy Herbert look good.
A quick hypothetical, because we got to move on because we have other stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah.
But Harbaugh is obviously one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Oh, easily. That wasn't something that anybody needed the Chargers to know that. Yep, go on.
Ben Johnson also appears to be – it's early, but I think you'd be making a losing bet if you bet that Ben Johnson would not someday be one of the 10 best head coaches in the NFL.
Yep.
Given that a year of Caleb's development was wasted with a bad coaching staff, do you think we would be better off if we had just hired Jim Harbaugh, who I'm sure preferred to come here over the Chargers?
I don't know, because I don't know if he's the style of coach that Caleb needs specifically, right? Where I'm going to be on your ass like crazy, because Harbaugh is one of those I built.
Needs like an actual like offense. Well, not. I think hard ass is maybe. I think Harbaugh.
Might be.
You're probably right, but I think more so.
Harbaugh builds up a confidence of a quarterback in a different way than I think.
That's probably true. I was about to get more at. I agree with you that this worked out probably for the best, but more so because Ben Johnson is, the play caller, the one who's the architect of everything. Like, yeah, Harbaugh was a quarterback. Harbaugh is an offensive head coach, but he's also more of like a team ball head coach, whereas Caleb is, Johnson is offense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the fact that a former quarterback.
Jim Rome is burning. Is that a thing? Yeah, that's a thing.
Greg Rome is burning. Yes.
Yeah. Greg Roman.
Formerly the Rome Show on Fox Sports Chicago, and I don't know what that was syndicated off of. However, yeah, I agree with you. Mine is a little bit more so because Johnson is a hard ass, and I like that about him. But also like not a red ass hard ass, like just someone who does what he needs to do.
I'll tell you like it is, and I think Harbaugh would do the same. I'm not saying that Harbaugh wouldn't do like that.
Gruden vibes and hopefully less racist.
Yes.
Whereas Harbaugh is, for me, you're right. He's more of like a cheerleader, inspiring.
He builds up the confidence. Blah, blah. He talks about them like crazy. He doesn't like. He looked at JJ McCarthy and say JJ McCarthy is one of the best quarterbacks in college football that he's ever had. Let's be honest here, and I think the Vikings are maybe slowly learning this. I don't know. JJ McCarthy wasn't that great, and a lot of it had to do with everything that was going around him. I'm sure he put in the work, and that's what he loved about him. But that's the kind of Harbaugh builds up the confidence, and I'm just going to make sure you're great, even if you're not. And that's what I think Herbert needed, because Herbert needed to be told your arm is so talented that while you're coming off that throw, just throw it. Just make that throw, because you're such a robot. You want to make the right read, but you know what? You're so great and talented that sometimes you should probably make the wrong or like the tight read that you might think is close. And you'll make it, and he's starting to do that. He's so confident in his arm now that he's making the throws that I think he only really tried his rookie year when he was under a lot of duress and he just had to get it out. He's now doing that. And I think that was the right fit. That was a perfect fit.
Granted, last game from what I saw is actually a bad example of this, but I think you're still right. We've got to move on, or at least close out our Bears segment a little bit here. But we've spent of our assigned 20-minute allotment to talk about the Bears, take our medicine, get out of it. We're now on about 90 minutes. So at this point, no reason to stop now if we still want to talk about them. But is there any other aspect of the Bears you'd like to talk about that has nothing to do with Caleb? Rome was
somebody that you were worried about, and I kept saying that they needed good coaching, and I think he's starting to look.
Oh, I'm not.
I wish he was a little bit more secure with his hands at times.
Yeah, I'm not. He dropped the touchdown last week.
He's getting open, man.
I'm willing to. This is what I'm willing to allow. He has been blessed by Ben Johnson, probably for good reason, as the designated "this route will probably break wide open" guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I think that he is seeing defenses better when he's doing his choice routes, and he's in the right place more often, right? Would you agree there? We haven't been seeing some wild ass, what are you doing going over there, Rome? Why are you drifting to the middle when there's a middle safety, Rome? Like,
sure, and that's a work in progress, and I believe more than the accuracy thing. Probably more because I know more about the position. I believe it is probably more likely to get better and better and better as he gets better. This is what I think about Rome.
His technicalities on his route running has also gotten better.
This is going to sound to the naked ear, especially to a Bears fan, as a
dig,
an insult. It is not. This is one of the greatest receivers of all time. I believe that Rome is similar to a young Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I said an insult. I think most Bears fans know that Keenan Allen's like a Hall of Famer.
Does sound bad, and he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's close.
He's close.
It's hard. If people like it, it's fine. Or maybe even. Well, no, I was going to say Reggie Wayne. He's not as good as Reggie Wayne. But I think there's like a path to Keenan Allen ish, which I think we were.
I think a top 10 pick.
We'll take it, but I think we were hoping for a little bit more.
You're getting the 10th pick in the
dynamism. I would say.
Oh no, I don't. Maybe downfield, yeah, and I think you still get that with Rome that you wouldn't have gotten with Keenan Allen, and I think that adds a little bit of the dynamism. But I still think Rome was always more of a technician than he was anything else, right? He's an X receiver that happens to be a technician than he is a vertical stretch guy.
So for the same reason that I've given up is a strong term, but I don't see Caleb ever being one of those 5-6 awesome quarterbacks that we're talking about.
I still think it's a lower chance, but I disagree with.
We're off. I'm saying by the same token, I'm just saying when Rome was drafted, I expected Davante Adams. I don't think we're going to get there. I think we're going to settle into Keenan Allen, which is fine.
To become Davante Adams. And how bad did Davante Adams look his first few years? I think it's crazy to.
You're on the same page. I want you to actually throw a number out there because I think I also have a number.
Mm-hmm.
How many years did it take?
Wasn't it like his fourth year?
I believe it was 4. It was 4.
Yep.
You're right. However, Davante Adams did not look like Rome Odunze. He was not drafted 9. So I kind of expected Rome Odunze not to immediately be Davante Adams, but to show me the things that made me think, ooh, that guy's going to be Davante Adams someday. I'm not seeing that. I don't need to see that. He's playing great. But also, Davante Adams does not drop that touchdown. You know the touchdown pass I'm talking about. He dropped the touchdown pass.
I think he might have dropped it as early. He might have dropped it his early few years. It was a contested catch,
but too. Davante Adams, like third round pick,
right? But I do think that we
didn't pass on Jared Verse for.
Okay, that's a fair point, and I love Verse coming out too. I do think that you have to go back to last year, and I've been saying this for a while, and look at the coaching and realize that some of that is a regressive style of coaching. There were times where I'm like, they're not coaching these wide receivers for shit. And I said it last year because it's a constant for me. With Rome especially, he was not coached up well. And I think when you waste a year with bad coaching, I don't care if you're drafted 9th or what, you're going to get the results of bad coaching.
Yeah,
I think that this is a correction year. And that's why I'm going to sit there and say, yeah, sure, 3rd round pick versus top 10. Let's let them correct some of the shit that he was probably coached up wrong with and fix it. Now, that doesn't go to the hands. I agree with you. It was a wobbler of a throw. It's still a hard catch. He should have made it. But the ball was it was a terrible spiral. I think it was like this. It was the opposite way when it got to his hands. and it was a contested catch. So like there's a little bit more of a hard. That said, that's like the second or third drop for him, I think. So
yeah, I mean, yesterday Marvin Harrison Jr. had the whole tweet is fair and blue sky is fair talking about, damn, why does this guy suck? We really didn't think this guy was going to suck. And then late in the game, I don't know if you saw the replay or whatever, he catches a touchdown, skies over Devin Witherspoon and hauls it in using his big old body. And it's like, well, this is still the difference between what Rome could be and what Marvin Harrison could be. It's just like it just lacks that extra little oomph, I guess. And it would be crazy for me of all players, because I believe Odunze has been the best player on the team this year.
Yes.
So this is such a nitpick, I guess. I'm just saying, I'm just not seeing the atoms of it all. Yeah. But also, Keenan Allen is
he has
totally
a 60% contested catch rate right now too, which is
that's like
pretty damn good. He was at 72.2 last year. Like
they gotta come up with a stat. I think they gotta come up with a stat that divides what a contested catch is into several more categories. You know?
Hey, fine, fair.
Going up here over a guy is not the same thing as I can catch this ball. I've told you many times. I was really good at catching this ball when a guy's about to hit me. That was a contested catch. No way, fuck, I was going to catch this fucking ball.
Yeah, that's fair.
Big body and guy. Those are
I do think some of those contested catches are going up to get it, but I digress. I would have to come up with a cut up. Like let's create a cut up of all of his contested catches, and we'll go from there. I wanted to bring up Rome because I think Rome has gotten a lot better, and we had talked about potentially where he was at last year versus now.
Whether that's even true, he's been used correctly, and that's a huge part of it.
Yep. And then
I'll say this. I'll say one more little hot take here.
Yep.
I believe that DJ Moore is, if not in the position of the X receiver, though I think he is operating as it, and he is running the tough routes. And that is allowing other guys to get open. I think Moore has been very good.
Moore has been running the.
He's been like the AU role. He's like in the AU role.
Yeah, I don't think he's the X, but he's been because I don't think he's been up on the line as much. Like he has been probably up on the line half the time. I think they're splitting it.
Yeah, this is a weird way to be putting it because like he obviously isn't. But I believe he is running the tough routes that is allowing a lot of good stuff to happen around him.
Yes, I would agree with you there. I also really liked what I saw from Luther Burden. Our wide receiver group looks.
So it's hard to look at what Luther Burden did last week and take much from it.
Not the flea flicker.
He caught the ball, getting over the middle. I mean, the better Luther Burden play, I think I sent you in all caps as if it's a title. After he made that catch over the middle, I said the Luther Burden play or the Luther Burden game.
Right, you said Luther
because he was just so good, but also he was wide the hell open, and I don't think that'll. Sorry, go ahead.
His returns have looked great. I wanted to make my point on why Luther Burden. His returns have looked great. That crosser was still a good play, right? Like that was
sure.
He ran it to the right depth because if you didn't run it, like you have to create enough depth between you and DJ Moore, right? Of
course, absolutely. It looks easy on tape, but there's a lot of stuff you could fuck up there. You have to find this little note for Rome Odunze sometimes. Find grass. Doesn't matter if you're maybe 5 yards further than what he's expecting.
That is less him finding grass and more. I'm being told to run this route at 20 yards. I need to run this route at 20, right? And
that is very much the same in my lexicon as finding grass.
Right. It comes down to coaching, right? Which is why I say Rome wasn't coached well. Because you know what? Maybe I'll let you run it at 17 and not
I only bring up Rome because we told him to find grass many times and he didn't do it. But Luther Burden found grass there.
Yeah. And I like to see that, especially from a guy who didn't get to practice as much as everybody else because of injuries. And then the returns have looked very good. And he has been, like, even with the preseason stuff, his hands have been very reliable. I am seeing a wide receiver who we both were very high on coming out of the draft anyway. But you were higher than me, right?
But
I think
both of us thought he was a first round pick.
yeah, I didn't like Golden. I liked Burden, and I mean Ibuka has been one of my draft crushes for 2 years now, 2 years in a row now, because I was hoping he'd come out last year, and he came out this year instead.
Yeah.
And he's looked everything the wide receiver that I thought he'd be. You thought he'd be too. We were both very high on him. I guess what I'm trying to get at is our wide receivers have looked, I think, the part that they've been saying that they should look. Our offensive
line, the
line,
whole rotation, right? Yeah. Like Burden plays and Zacchaeus plays, and I was worried. I think I'm too conditioned by Bears head coaches to like not know
how to rotate guys in and out and like use guys.
Well, like so these are our top 3 receivers, and they will be playing together on three receiver sets, 97% of the snaps. But it's like no, Burden plays just as much as Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus is just in there for the shorter stuff, and Burden is in there for the fun, the potentially more explosive stuff.
Yep.
That's nice. I like that. There's literally, I don't believe in my lifetime the Bears have ever operated in that way.
Yeah. There was a concept, the flea flicker. It was so awesome because the personnel was awesome. They didn't have Rome out there, so you're really being sold on are they running it right? So it was Burden, and it might have been just Zacchaeus. I'm not sure. I don't think Rome or DJ were out there.
Was Zacchaeus the deep cross?
It might have been. I'm not 100% sure if it was Zacchaeus or if it was. It might have been. Yeah. So, but I love that idea too. It's like, well, we've got 2 wide receivers out there, but we're going to put Burden out there because this is a shot play. But it's going to make it seem like it's a run play because Burden's also a really good run blocker, right? Like, and we don't have our top receiver out there, or what might become our top receiver. We still believe DJ is. That's really cool to see too. That's something that we would never like, let alone what you said. This is even more insane. I love that. I do love that. But I want to come back. I want to also touch on the offensive line. I think some people are a little down on it because the running game hasn't been as great. I think that comes back to what we've both been worried about, you specifically way more than I have been, and I think you might be a little bit more right, is the running backs are bad enough that they actually are a huge net negative. I think Monanga is pretty good.
I'd love the Gremlin to get some more looks for sure.
Yeah.
Even last week, he had just a nasty run last week. Like truly broke like 3 tackles, found grass. Like he really, really did a great job, and it was a 4-yard loss. Yes. But that was a tough run. And also when I'm looking at it, it's like, at a certain point, maybe you know where you are in the field and just get north and south.
He's a rookie.
It wasn't like so
they came back to him right
egregious
after.
Where it was like, man, you've got to stop running around back here. It was like he's trying to get through, and he keeps kind of naturally getting pushed back. And it's like, I like Gremlin.
There's a thing that
I will say for the first time on the pod, because I will say this once and one time only. His last name is Monangai. Monangai sounds like Mogwai. A Mogwai is a gremlin that has not gotten wet yet in the Gremlins franchise. Therefore, his nickname is Gremlin. Also, he is a very short little man, and therefore he is also a gremlin. It is a perfect nickname. If this does not get picked up, if this does not go viral, I will commit harikari. Gremlin is his nickname.
Oh, well, just make sure to leave some towels out in front of you as you do that.
Did I pronounce it wrong? I don't want to be culturally
I think you did, but I'm not going to try to pronounce it myself.
Harakari. Whatever it is, not an honorable suicide.
Yeah, where Japanese suicide, where you slice your stomach open.
Well, okay, so I think an honorable suicide without putting a culture on it was maybe better.
Well, it's a Japanese traditional suicide.
It is, of course, Everybody knows what Harakari is. I don't know how to spell it. I do know in "Look at Me Now" by Chris Brown, featuring
I know it is Seppuku,
Rick Ross, and Twista, and maybe one other guy.
Yeah, he
says Arikari, and I know that's probably not it, but that's where I got my pronunciation from.
It's also called that. It's also called seppuku, which is how I think it's. I don't know which one's the formal way of saying it, but either way, I'm a weed.
Either way, I'm a major suicide threat if we all don't start calling Monakai Gremlin.
Jesus Christ.
I'm kidding, but Gremlin's a great nickname.
I really hope YouTube doesn't flag this because of the what you're saying. There's gonna be like a little thing about suicide at the bottom of our show. Yeah. The other coming back to
it in the mentions of that Logic song with the suicide hotline, whatever that.
Yeah. Oh God.
I'm kidding.
Coming back to it.
I love my life. Well, I like my life.
I will also add that the interior offensive line is only going to get better with reps. I think with the Panthers last year, for instance, they weren't that great of a running team until like week 6. Like, you just got to give these guys some time to like play together, and then you're going to see even more.
I don't even need to be
I've
involved.
already liked what I've seen.
I have one thing to say about this, and you can talk about the interior offensive line all you want. I don't care. It is the running back's fault. It is entirely the running back's fault. It has got nothing to do with the interior offensive line. I don't need them to get more reps. I mean, great if you do, but that's not why the running game is not working. It is the running back.
I will say
running back, singular.
I will say that Derek Klassen. Oh wait, why am I? Bluesky.com, bsky.app. Derek Klassen was asked earlier today by somebody who I follow that's a Bears fan. I think I've interacted with before. It's been a very long time since I've really posted on bsky. About if the running backs. I want to give that person credit because it's a good question. If the running backs would make a difference, and he did say yes, changing the running backs. It was NFL Bear fan.bsky.social. Who I think I've had good interactions with. He's a pretty smart, actually pretty smart Bears fan on there.
Hey, two things: NFL Bear
with
fan.
Genty on the Bears had
NFL Bear fan. You got shouted on our very popular podcast, so I'd appreciate an equal measure back to us. Also, great username.
The very, very, very talented. Straight to the point.
What would you be confused about there?
The question was, would Genty on the Bears have made a difference, or are they just bad run blockers? A running back who is not Swift would make a difference on the Bears. They are, in my opinion, they're doing
even
fine,
somebody
and
as bad,
even better.
Even somebody as bad as Ashton Genty. That is absolutely true. Somebody as bad as Ashton Genty would make a difference.
Which I think the question is pretty valid because Genty has not looked that great on the Raiders because of how bad the Raiders run blocking is. So the question basically is, are we the Raiders?
I'm very salty at Genty for fucking sinking to my fantasy team so far.
Yeah, it's not his fault though, man. He's looked.
I have no idea. The only Raiders I've seen is some highlights of Geno being Geno.
Geno's looked really good. So there's that. I just wanted to make that point out. Is the interior offensive line is only going to get better, and I think they're already very good. The tackles. We should probably talk about the fact that Theo Benedict's probably starting at right tackle this week because Darnell Wright's out.
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts on that really quick. That is a big indictment on everybody that it's not Trapilo. I don't know what else to say. That it's not Trapilo is a huge indictment on almost everybody involved.
I disagree, and I think that's I think that is, how do I put this? That might be, you might be right, but we don't know because he looked good during it was a small sample. He looked very good during preseason. Last week, during the reps that he had a pass blocking grade of, let me see here. He only had 4 reps, gave up nothing. A pass blocking grade of 62.5 because there's only 4 reps. 69.7 offensive grade, 70.4. He's got a 73.9 pass blocking grade right now in the 9 reps he's had. He has not given up in the 9 reps. It's only 9.
Before these last 2 months, 3 months, 2.5 months, what was Theo Benedict most famous for in your mind?
His dance or his song on what's it called? The Hard Knocks.
Yeah, so I'm watching that with my wife Sarah. And she's really into it. She loves the talent show. She was very disappointed there was no talent show this year for the Bills, which I will co-sign. Don't be on Hard Knocks if you're not going to do a fucking rookie talent show. Mm-hmm. But she was a big fan of Theo Benedict and a few of the other rookies, Austin Reed. The Hard Knocks will tug at your heartstrings and you'll want to root for some of these guys. Ian Wheeler, obviously. Sarah asks me, is he going to make the team? And I said, no. He's just a classic Hard Knocks fodder. We had a little story out of him. Of course he's not going to make the team. A year later, he's starting at right tackle. Maybe we found him. Maybe we found a guy. Of course. Bill Murray last year was like a guy for like all half of the game.
Let's just see. Don't Charles Leno.
Because Charles Leno played left tackle at the second most successful FBS program of the past of this century.
And
Theo Benedict is some
just
Canadian
like Charles
guy.
Leno as a 5th round pick who went to a small ass fucking southern.
I believe
like
6 is correct.
Utah. It's Utah. Went to not southern, whatever the hell, some small ass
Wait,
school.
we're doing Braxton Jones now.
We're doing Braxton Jones. What was he?
Southern Utah.
Southern Utah, right? And has been a perfectly capable starter at left tackle, which is something that's very fucking hard to find.
But do you want to know something similar? I'm sorry, but do you want to know something similar
on a player
Braxton
just because
Jones?
of where they were drafted? I hate this so much with a lot of Bears fans.
And real quick, do you want to know something similar about Braxton Jones and Charles Leno that does not apply to Theo Benedette for me?
They're black?
And I did bait you into that, and I thought you might say that. No. You know what the similarity is?
What?
Before the draft, I had fucking heard of them before.
I mean, sure, fine, fair, cool. I mean, there have been tackles, I feel like, that have come in and started that people haven't heard of. But nobody ever wants to talk about that stuff because it's always
sure.
about.
I mean, I certainly didn't know who Jordan
Mailata.
Mailata.
Yeah,
I had no idea who that was. But
like, we gotta. Okay,
that's an exception.
Maybe this is becoming a thing where, like, in the NBA, we go to Europe now, but before that,
yeah, Benedict doesn't have some crazy athletic background.
He could be the coach of offensive tackles. Was Kukoc had a crazy athletic background? He could be the first of many.
Kukoc was the best. Was universally lauded as the best player in Europe, but that's fine. I get what you're saying. Benedette,
we might not be tapping into
in the transfer portal era. He didn't make his way over to fucking New Mexico State or some shit, so I could have heard of him. Whatever.
I don't know how many people are actually watching.
I'm not writing Canadian
football.
But what I think is an indictment either way is that the coaching staff. Okay,
here's the indictment. The fact that he's been inactive, Trapillo's been inactive, I think, is an indictment on the draft.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
But I also think who's going to be your swing tackle? The guy that can play left and right should be your swing tackle, and we know Trapillo can't. And teams don't always go in with two tackles.
I don't know that. In fact, I don't trust that.
I don't know. I think that Trapillo also looked pretty decent in preseason, and there's a reason why he makes. So, like, I don't know if we need to indict them for that pick. It's just that you might have lucked out and gotten another tackle and undrafted from a market that doesn't get really tapped into and probably scouted from, to be honest with you, because there's so many players to scout.
You know, two things. I'm the one that wastes my time doing a podcast, as are you, for no reason. So I'm allowed to just say whatever. So I'm just saying, but the real answer. I'm saying it's an indictment, but the real answer is, for the most part, we'll see if he's good. I mean, again, Bill Murray was really good last year for a half. You know, maybe he's good. The smart money is not on that. The smart money is probably on the second-round pick, who was really good at Boston College and who everybody thought should have gone in the second round because he was really good at Boston College.
Yeah.
I would probably, I don't know. Nobody knows more than the coaching staff, obviously. But for me, the bird's eye view is all I have. And it's when every talent evaluator before the draft says that Ozzy Trapillo was drafted exactly where he should have been, and he's good at this, and we're going to some Canadian guy after we've already decided that Trapillo needs to be inactive every week and can't play left tackle. It's like, I think you guys are maybe overthinking this a little bit too much.
I'm shocked his shuttle is better than his 3-cone on the Raz composite score. I'd rather be using. I didn't know if Mock Draftable would have him, so I went to Raz instead since they have literally everybody. He has.
What school did he even go to?
He went to British Columbia. He has elite explosives. He has elite explosives. His 10 split is an 8.33 in Raz, which is what you care about. I don't care about the 40 or the 20. And the arm length isn't as great. It's 6. He's actually below the 33. He's 32 and a half.
Actually, is the University of British Columbia?
Yeah. So it's named after the what are they called there? They're not states.
The province.
The province.
But there's only was it 17 provinces or something like that?
Is there 17? Jesus, I thought there was 4.
I think there's at least 13. How many provinces
in Canada.
in Canada.
Yeah, no, you're close at least. 4 times 12. It came out
10
right.
and 3 territories. 10 and 3 territories. So my
Got it.
second guess is basically right.
Okay. I didn't realize there was that many because I only really know of like the.
It's a big old mass of land there, Adam.
Yeah, I thought they were chunked out pretty big.
And they got little islands out there. Prince Edward Island. They got the little motherfuckers.
I'm an American, so I'm just ignorant. The big thing too, though.
Honestly, clearly, 4.
I mean, his explosive.
What did you think the 4 were?
I mean, I thought there was more than 5. I meant 5.
All right.
British Columbia. I gotta fucking pull it up because I'm not gonna be stupid. The ones that I knew of were like Alberta, British Columbia,
Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta,
Ontario, and then Nova Scotia would be the ones that I know of off the top of my dome. I didn't know of like British Edward Island or like I didn't know Newfoundland, and I know Newfoundland.
The fact that I'm one of those attempts you pronounce it correctly means you've heard of it.
Yeah, but I thought it was like an actual country. Isn't Newfoundland an actual country? Is that really a province?
All right, we got to get off of this. I'm my god!
I thought it was a country.
Oh my god!
I see, but that's the thing. I'm calling myself ignorant on purpose. I know more about Europe and Asia than I do about Canada. Let me be very clear.
I've never played.
I can go over Europe like crazy.
You never heard of Manitoba?
No, I mean I've heard of Manitoba, but I didn't know that was.
I did not.
I've heard of these. I did not know that they were provinces. Let me be very clear. I've heard of New Brunswick. I didn't know that was a province of. I just thought it was like a.
I always imagined you'd be a good bar trivia partner, but now that is gone.
I'm pretty okay. Come on, hit me up. Hit me up with a trivia question. I know a lot of random shit, man. I just don't know pop culture. I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of random shit, just not pop culture. Because I go down rabbit holes on Wiki like crazy.
Well, this is about some fairly basic geography about our neighbors.
I sent you Theo Benedette's RAS score.
Yeah.
He's athletic, man. If you can coach him up, you can coach him up. Maybe there is something there that it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we've got somebody who could replace Brax next year.
I don't disagree. So who's going to be? Kyron's hurt, right?
Yes.
Kyron.
Oh my god.
So Trapilo has to be active this week as the swing tackle, correct?
I would believe so. Yes.
Okay, I mean it sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Like they're going to put Max Crosby on Theo Benedette every time they can. That's not great.
Well, he also plays, I think, mostly left edge anyway, or he plays on the left side mostly. So he's going to go against whoever.
Whether he does or doesn't.
Well, I don't know. I actually might not want Brax on Crosby because Crosby's going to be one of those relentless, like, bull rushing kind of rush guy. You know, I wouldn't say
before I get up for a brief moment here. Let's launch you off on something you can talk a lot about. Are we done with Benedette? It really is just wait and see, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else about the Bears you want to talk about?
Just defense, maybe we should touch on. Do you want me to just go off on that while you get up?
Let's talk about the secondary, and let's talk about what it'll look like when Kyler gets back. Kind of that general region. Yeah,
I'll go ahead. There was a question. Actually, I'm really happy you said this because there was a question on. I think I asked you about maybe considering trading for a corner, and then I thought about it when I saw another person bring it up because the Titans, I think, just traded for somebody or traded away someone in the secondary. I'm not going to look it up.
Travis Brownlee, yeah.
Yes, Travis Brownlee. And so they asked if Jarvis, they asked if we should consider doing the same. And I posted a pretty long comment on there. And it was basically like, if we want to get somebody who doesn't can be a backup that won't shit the bed if they have to play a few games and can be pretty decent if they have to play a few games, then yeah, let's go ahead and maybe think about throwing like a third day 3 pick to grab them. But other than that, I don't think we should, specifically because you have Jalen Johnson who's on IR, right? And I believe you can only be on IR for 8 weeks before you have to miss the rest of the season. Like at a certain point, you hit a cutoff where you're at the maximum before it's like, no, this player can no longer be set to return. And when I Googled it,
I think it's 6 with a 3-week practice window.
When I Googled it, I couldn't find it. And then Google the way that I had to ask it like I couldn't find any articles real quick, and then I finally asked it in a way where, thank God, or Gemini gave it to me instead of me having to go through all the articles, and it said 8. It might have been 6, and then you have to activate with 21 days, but I couldn't find the source for it. I really should just check the CBA. So we have a copy on it on OTC. It's just so hard to read the CBA. So you know that you're going to get him back in like 6 to 8 weeks.
You don't find my ass doing that.
Well, you think you're going to get him back in 8 weeks, specifically because they said that he should be back for the season. He's already on IR. So we know we're going to get him back in 8 weeks. You also know that
based on my understanding, I believe 9, but yeah.
Yeah. Kyler should be back within at least a week or two. He might be back this weekend.
He'll be back this week.
Because he's not on the IR. Why would you not put him on IR if he's not going to be back within the 4-week frame? So
McLeod, I'll say McLeod has not been good, but
he hasn't shot the bed.
I don't believe he's embarrassed himself. But
yes.
I mean, the difference between the 50th best slot corner in the NFL versus the 3rd best slot corner in the NFL is probably quite important.
In my response, I basically laid all that out, and I said, you're better off waiting those guys out and hoping that you can steal some wins without them, because especially without the offense has been playing, hopefully, right? And if you look at the middle of our schedule, the middle of our schedule is the soft spot of the schedule. There are a lot of winnable games within there, including the Burrow-less Bengals. Thank God they're Burrow-less, because I don't know if I would have said that with him there. So you have the Burrow-less Bengals, you have the Raiders this week, you have the Saints, and then we came close with the Vikings. We'll see how they look as the weeks continue, right? You'd have the Vikings again, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's like 5 games that I think are winnable. Not we would win, but they are winnable, right? Out of the 8 that we would have to wait. So best you go 5-3 in my opinion. Within that, worse you could lose literally every single game. I also added a caveat on there.
We talked about this a little bit because there's the Commanders are on there, and that's it's at Washington. There's at Baltimore.
Baltimore would be the game that I'm like, there's no chance at all we're winning. But
do you remember my takeaway in our conversation? It's like the next 8 games or so. Do you remember the takeaway? What I thought was just win each of the next 8 games, and that way you'll be 9-2. Once Jalen comes back, I'd win all of them, honestly.
Of course, no shit. But I think
I'm a little stinker.
Yeah, I knew you were going there, and I know that if that was your takeaway. I was hoping you had a real takeaway. That's why I gave that up to you. And I was like, I don't remember a real takeaway from this other than you fucking with me. And then I started fucking with you pretty early, and I don't know if you noticed it back, but I was like, I think like halfway through that, I really started fucking with you, and you might have noticed it like 3 messages later.
We'll come back fucking with you
because I realized you were messing with me. I actually realized you were messing with me pretty early, and then I started doing the JD Vance fuck a couch thing, and to make it really obvious that I knew. That was a funny conversation, though, to be honest with you. The where I'm going with this is you just got to get through if you can steal, you can come into it like 500. You still have a pretty decent chance to make a playoff push. I don't know if the Bears are going to make the playoffs. I actually doubt it. I think they'll probably end up around like 8 or 9 wins if I was being generous about it, right? But it's generous. Again, I'm saying generous.
We're in basically the same spot.
Yeah. So, but it's also because the schedule is so difficult after that. But what I'm trying to say is you got to get yourself into a place where you can make that push and you have those guys around you. And at that point, what the hell is when you trade for somebody who's not going to play unless they take over Tyreek Stevenson's spot, which I don't you'd have to send a lot to get somebody who's a CB2, a real CB2, more than I would want to give up with.
With the gymnastics of looking at the schedule and trying to decide, what do they have to do by here? What do they have to do by here? What I found is what you have to do is establish yourself as a good team, have some team belief, and then beat some good teams down the stretch. Like, you don't have to have as good of a record as you think you need to have once you get to the tough part of the schedule. You just need to have the team thinking they're good so that when they go to Green Bay, they fucking give you like, holy shit, they beat Green Bay and Green Bay. Wow. Okay, I didn't expect that to come.
Look,
because that's like 2011 when they eventually went to the NFC Championship game. We had a tough part of the schedule, but we started well. We lost to the Redskins, who sucked, but Jay Cutler threw it to D'Angelo Hall 4 times. And it was like, okay, well, we're not that good. We lost to the Redskins. But they got themselves like 6-3 ahead of the tough part of the schedule, which I think was like Packers, Patriots, Mike Vick, Eagles. And then they like handily beat the Mike Vick Eagles. And it was like, oh, we're like, and that's a part of it where you a part of our discussion to make a quick little point here is so you're kind of counting the Commanders as a loss. And so am I, because I don't think the Bears are better than the Commanders. But if you automatically are checking the Commanders, probably the 6th or 7th best team in the NFC, as an automatic loss, then you're already admitting the Bears are bad. And yeah, I think that's probably a loss. But if they're going to be good, you have to look at that game and say, we got to take that game.
You're forgetting, though, that I'm counting that as a loss specifically because you don't have Jalen Johnson. If you had Jalen Johnson in that game, who would then be able to cover Terry McLaurin, and then I can trust that Debo could probably be taken care of in some kind of combination of like coverages and stuff like that. I'm not as down because, again, you bring back Kyler Gordon, which coming to the point that you want to make, our running defense is going to be significantly better the moment I think Kyler Gordon comes back. Because you're losing a linebacker when you're in nickel, which we're going to be in most of the time. And I think that that's where we're seeing the biggest difference between him and McLeod, right? Like,
genuinely, the most impact you've ever had on me is convincing me that Kyler Gordon's important. I could not be more convinced of Kyler Gordon's importance right now.
He's an incredibly important part of that defense, and it's
not like I didn't. It's not like I didn't intellectually understand what a nickel did, but it's just like I don't know. You got to see it without him and be like, man, do we be able to play so much more nickel? Like
2 years ago when we got Montez Sweat, everyone was like, look,
I want Ruben Hippolyte off the field. I want Amen Oda.
Sewell's been very good, by the way, and I'm incredibly impressed by him. Outside of maybe in like one-on-one, like man coverage.
That was the last guy to talk about. Sewell's got a pretty bad PFF grade. They are incorrect.
Every
Sewell's
linebacker
all over the place. Yeah,
PFF will admit to the
fact
that
we can briefly just say they don't have the
linebackers.
linebackers. They have admitted they don't have the linebackers.
Yeah.
They do,
and it's not that they don't,
and it's not nothing, but they don't know how to grade a linebacker correctly.
It's the fact that linebackers have so much to do that the way that they grade them, they know that that's going to count a lot of negatives against linebackers that it's a little unfair.
Right, so they openly admit that a bad linebacker grade is not fair, basically.
They've been saying since
Sewell has been the best player on our defense, in my opinion.
He's been so good. I hit on that so hard.
Montez Sweat possibly better. I've been digging Sweat this year.
Yeah, people are down on Sweat because he's not getting the sacks. I think people need to.
Yeah, I don't care.
Watch his run defense.
He's been winning his reps. He's been.
It's the corners that are hurting. I think Montez Sweat the most. Specifically those first 2 games where we.
And sleeper, Jaquan Brisker. Until the next career, the next one, which will probably end his career, concussion. Excellent out of Brisker so far.
I mean, I've been high on. We've both been incredible. Brisker was one of your favorite defensive players, I think, 2 years ago. Like, yeah, I agree there. Coming back to
4 years ago, for the Bears.
Him and Gordon are massive run support DBs. That you need Gordon in the nickel position for our run defense to be good, because once you don't have him, you can attack that side of the field so often because you don't have somebody. You have a corner who shouldn't be there instead of a linebacker on run support, and it's just not good. And so it comes back to 2 years ago. I remember saying when we got Montez Sweat, all of a sudden our defense was great. But you know what else happened at that same time? All of our DBs became healthy at the same time.
Jalen got back, yeah.
And I was pounding the table trying to say, guys, it's not just Montez Sweat. It has a lot to do
Sweat
with
was playing well above his head, and we've not seen that version of him ever since.
Yes, I agree with you there. But that would probably help. It helped with the sacks, right? And it did help on the run defense too, because you had somebody who could actually set the edge. But it wasn't the only reason, and I don't even know if it was the biggest reason. The biggest reason was Gordon kept getting hurt, Brisker kept getting hurt, JJ kept getting hurt. The only one who was there the whole time, I think, that year was a rookie Stevenson, who looked a lot better once everyone else came back. Because guess what's going to happen? It's a lot easier to do your assignments when your safety's there and you know you've got help, etc. Like, we were going through a slog of injuries at DBs, and our defense looks like shit right now because we are going through a slog of injuries at DB. it's hard when you build from the back to the front and you don't have the back, right? And it's not wrong to do it, build from the back to the front, because I think it's actually incredibly easier to find DBs and then allow your front, which has been pretty damn good. Javon Dexter also is having a good season, right? Like, our defensive line hasn't been as bad as people think it is because of sacks. It's been because we can't cover those first 2 weeks specifically. This past week has been a lot better. The first 2 weeks we could not cover for more than like a second. Like, Tyreek Stevenson was a liability those first 2 games. He couldn't cover a fly. I think it's probably pretty hard to cover a fly now that I think about it. Kill a fly is the term, right? But like, I went with cover a fly.
I think you might have mixed metaphors there. I don't know if cover a fly is a thing.
No, I said kill a fly. Hey, kill a fly is I couldn't even kill a fly, right? Is the metaphor. I wanted to say cover a fly, and it was fun to say.
I guess in that metaphor, it's assumed that you're in a pretty closed space with the fly.
Yeah, because it's pretty hard to cover a fly. But he couldn't. He probably in those first 2 games he couldn't cover shit. And that it's just like, what are you asking your pass rush to do? I got to look back and see what the time to throw was for the quarterbacks in those first 2 games. And to be fair, JJ McCarthy took sacks in the first half of that Vikings game because he was so slow reading shit. Then all of a sudden he's like, oh, things are wide open. Let me just throw these things and look like I'm actually good, even though I'm not. And now, the injury.
Okay, I think it was a real injury. It's just I don't know if he's getting that back if Wentz does good again.
And so NFC North meme wars again has been doing that shit, and it's been really fucking funny. I love it. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, once you get those corners back and you get that secondary back, I think this defense will start to click. And even without them, I think what they did with the Cowboys, which has been a very good explosive offense.
I think CeeDee Lamb was really important.
Really important, but you still have a decent combination of guys who, so you have Pickens, right? And then you still have a decent combination of guys who should be able to give you a 2 and a 3, right? A decent 2 and a 3, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about the same. The big thing there, I think, too, is like the Cowboys' offensive line is absolute trash. It is trash. It's better in the run games for some reason because they've been able to run the ball more than I expected the Cowboys to run the ball. If you remember, I thought they wouldn't be able to run the ball at all.
They're basically the best running team in the league.
It's shocking, but they are terrible in pass block. They are absolutely garbage at, like, the first game I remember watching, which they didn't run the ball that well in the first game. I know that Javonte Williams had 2 touchdowns, but I think he was running at like 3 yards a carry. That first game, though, Dak was running for his life and creating like crazy. Anyway, just a long way of saying the cornerback situation, secondary situation. Once we get healthy, I think we'll be a lot better. You bring up the commies. If we're worse than the commies, what's the point? Because I think that once you get our secondary healthy, we're not worse than the commies. I think we're better than the commies. I think we're significantly better than the commies once our defense is back.
Yeah, I don't know. The commies have proved some stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Commies look like shit the first 2 games. I don't know what they've proven.
I really just beat the hell out of the Raiders, so if we can't do the same.
Right, we need to do the same. Let's see how we do. I think we will. The Raiders are like 27th and like 31st in like defense of DVOA.
I think, I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't date the episode. Hopefully you get this goddamn episode up. But, final thoughts on the Bears again. I'm sorry we're going to spend 20 minutes on the Bears, but that's just what it's going to be from now on. I mean, it's obvious. It's the obvious way to say it, but covering Brock Bowers is really priority number one.
That's the thing that I'm scared of,
and that's why, maybe it wouldn't all come down on him, but things will rotate off of this being the case. You really got to get Kyler. I really hope Kyler plays. I know Kyler's not going to be mashed up one-on-one on Kyler, but Kyler's going to be patrolling. Kyler's not going to be matched up one-on-one on Bowers, but Kyler will be patrolling enough areas of the field that Bowers is in. I really hope Kyler's there because that's the main way I can see this going south.
I agree.
And as two veterans of Allegiant Stadium, you know how crazy that stadium can get. Ice Cube might walk up behind you. That's a tough place to play.
So here's what I'll say. I do think they match up well.
Adam, acknowledge what I just said.
I was trying to find a text that I sent to you. Ice Cube would be there. I
said as 2 veterans of Allegiant Stadium, you and I know that Allegiant Stadium is a crazy place to play. Ice Cube might just walk up behind you at one.
That was awesome. Sorry, I
Wasn't
took
that
this
fun?
thing.
Wasn't that fun?
That was for anyone who doesn't know, my bachelor party was in Las Vegas, and I wanted to go to a Raiders game really badly to see the stadium.
I've
And
been
Ice
to
Cube
as
was just
many.
there.
I've been to as many Raiders games in my life as Bears games.
You've only been to one Bears game? I think I knew this.
2000,
like-
we beat the Patriots. It was Drew Bledsoe's fourth
Yeah.
from final start as a New England Patriot.
Yeah, nice. I've only been to like 3 or 4 actual in-season ones.
Bears
I've been to
won.
full preseason. Nice. I don't really like going to games. I'll be honest with you. I like watching it from. It's just easier to watch football.
Besides the festivities aspect of it, I didn't like going to that Raiders game, but I enjoy being with you guys.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I enjoyed. I love the atmosphere. The festivities part of the beginning was a lot of fun. Okay, really
well,
quickly,
the actual festivities, yeah. I meant the festivities of your bachelor party, but yeah, that was also fun. A little outdoor kick.
I got to kick a couple field goals. My kicking's not that bad. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
It was not bad. It was better than the few guys that went with you.
Really quickly, what I was looking for was the all the stats I brought up with Caleb, but I was specifically looking for Vegas. Las Vegas is. So the Raiders are 25th in pass defensive DVOA and 5th in rush defensive DVOA, and I think that plays into our hands because guess what we're good at and what we're not good at. So they're good at our weakness, defending our weakness, which is like fine, fair, cool. We're just gonna suck at it like we always do. But our strength is where we can really gouge them, right? Like that's awesome because our pass DVOA is 12th, which holy shit, a Bears offense is 12th in passing DVOA. That's wild. And we're like top. Caleb's 12th in he was 12th in overall in passing grade when I looked at it.
Yeah, it is funny. I meant to I don't know if I said this to you, but I said this to my ball knowing buddy who was next to us on that flea flicker.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I think I did say this to you. I was like, man, they spent 2 weeks setting up that play with the toss back, but also from the same formation. I don't know if it was the same personnel, but I do believe Burden was usually involved with that personnel, so I bet it was the same personnel.
Mm-hmm.
The quick toss back, which I don't like as a running play. I get why they do it. I don't like it.
It's interesting because it's a quick toss, but it feels like it's not. It might be outside zone, but it feels like inside zone almost. Because he hasn't stretched it out. He has taken.
I think it's inside.
I haven't watched the run blocking to know for sure. I've got to watch the blocking to know. But
the logic, and I don't know if this is even good logic with DeAndre Swift because I don't think you need more time for DeAndre Swift to make a fucking decision.
You need less.
The logic is give him the ball a split second sooner so you can make it. He can figure out where he's going a split second sooner.
Yeah.
But why I also don't like it, or I guess the main reason I don't like it, is that you cannot set up play action off of that.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not going to do it.
You can,
but it would look odd. It would look odd.
Oh, I've seen fake pitches before. That's perfectly, especially
but
like
the quick one. The quick one is so quick that it would be you're almost not giving the linebackers enough time to react to how quick it was. It's so quick,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need to really sell it.
A good play action. You're taking your time. You're handing the linebackers a 2 full second, 1.5 full second.
If you want to sell that,
it's this and then turn around. So that's what I don't like about it.
If you wanted to sell that, because you want the motion
what
to also sell.
Was so goddamn Ben Johnson is great about it is, you can't really sell play action off of that unless. So that was cool.
Yeah,
that was cool. I loved that. It's not going to happen again, but I do wonder, like, what have we seen the first 3 weeks that they can do something cool with? Because, like, now I think last week was the first time we started to see the real fruits of same things look different things look the same. So, I don't
know if it'll matter specifically because of this. One, the defensive scheme is still kind of archaic. 2, they've got cornerbacks who suck ass. Like, their secondary is not that great. Their linebackers aren't good. And I hope Loveland.
I feel like this is a little bit of a kiss of death. I don't think Loveland is ruled out yet. No.
I hope Loveland can play because their linebackers aren't that great in coverage. Like, it comes back to they're 25th in passing defensive DVOA. I believe their passing grades their pass defensive grades are absolute trash. And it's
I
not
think
like
I think we're in dangerous territory, honestly, talking about a team that we both liked going into the season that we thought could be a playoff
specifically
team,
because of their offense.
and we're maybe discounting them a little bit.
I didn't think their offensive line would step back as much as it has.
Unlike the Cowboys, they have a game wrecker on defense. That is something to be reckoned with.
Crosby's still fantastic, and I do like their defensive line. I'm not trying to say their defensive line is that bad. They're specifically really good at run defense. Like, I think they're a good run defensive team. What I'm trying to say is I didn't know who their corners were when I said that, right? I don't think I really looked at their secondary as deep as I should have. I don't think they have a very good setup to stop our passing game.
Oh yeah, they're bad. Their top guy is out. I think right now they have Eric Stokes from Green Bay.
Yeah. I think
they probably have Caillou Blue Kelly. It's bad, but I don't want to like.
But that's the thing, though, is like you can't do much on your pass rush if your guys can't cover for at least 2 seconds. No one's getting home unless you're unblocked, and then your tackle's yelling back, "Jordan, run!" Anyone who doesn't that. Jordan Love.
Look it up. Look up Jordan Run. Just Google Jordan Run. You'll get it.
unless you're giving up a Myles Garrett pressure so fast that you have to turn around and yell, "Jordan Run!" No one's getting home in 2 seconds. It's just so hard to get quick pressures like that, right?
Almost it really sucks. But you're right. Yeah. But also, then Caleb has to do it. Caleb just has to do the thing.
Which comes back to Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, yes, they don't have a pass rush, but their corners were destroying them. Diggs was giving up big plays like he always has, right? Like people are like, "Oh, Diggs looks off. He's injured." Fair. But also like last year he was a lot better. Yes, I know last year was a lot better. A couple of years ago, though, not great. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, a lot better. Last year was he injured? Yes. Last year was injured, right? So 2 years ago was a lot better. But the year before that was giving up like 1,000 yards each season in coverage. Like he's always given up big plays. He had 1 year that might have been like an aberration.
You have 1,000 yards and also had like 10 picks. Yeah. That's I mean, this is a weaker secondary than the Cowboys for sure.
That's what I'm trying to get at. So
it's also on the road. It's also on the road. I've got the reason I brought up that one play is that I hope that Ben has some more tricks in his bag. That I hope he didn't empty it out. And based on what I know about Ben Johnson, he did not.
He did not. There's one.
But this to me is kind of a turning point game. You've called it a must win, basically, and that's what came from what ultimately me saying, you know what, just win the next 8 games, because like it is a must win, or it's certainly a must like look really really good, and then after that beat the Ravens somehow type of thing, like go 1-1 against the Raiders and Ravens. But point being, I've got to let's see it again on the road. Offensively, there's no reason that the team that just did what they did at the Cowboys cannot do it again, but I do need to see it. And then defensively, I've got some concerns. But
it's the thing is,
if you're gonna do anything, it's got to not only be a win, it's got to be a pretty convincing win. It's got to be like 34-17 type of shit.
Oh, I think it might not be convincing specifically because I still think that Bowers is going to be an issue with. I think in the middle. I don't know if we have. It depends on how like. Edmonds has been so like hit or miss for me this year on coverage. He's had a couple picks. A couple of them have like kind of gone right. Like that one where he had to dive for it. Granted, it wasn't him in coverage, but the diving play, that was a very athletic play to get the interception.
I feel very bad. That same play you're referring to. I feel bad for Prescott, who has gotten the tag of he throws too many interceptions
because all of them are always like,
man, are you watching this?
They're always like that. So many of his interceptions have just been his receivers failing him, and it's so sad.
Pickens literally had the ball in his hands and just went whoop.
Yeah, that was the. But okay, so basically, what I'm getting at is, I don't think we're going to match up well on defense because of again our secondary is not great. They're still a good passing offense, so it's almost the same thing on the other side. It's like, let's see if Tyreek Stevenson can build off of last week, right? If he can, then great. We'll look a little bit better. If he can't, and it's more like if last week was an aberration for him, and the first 2 weeks are more what we're gonna see, then I'm a little worried that they're also gonna put up a lot of points. Like I'm taking the over, essentially is what I'm saying. Because again,
it's Ben Took.
And
Ben
they
Took
might
over here.
they might have a get right game with Ashton Genty, which again isn't Genty. It's their because we're not stopping the run. If Kyler Gordon's there, I think we'll stop the run a lot better. I'm gonna throw that out there because Sewell's look great at linebacker stopping.
I agree, but the Ravens, the Raiders do run typically from 2 tight end sets. They want to be in 2 tight ends, so
I could see us still because one tight end still
down
Bowers.
To Amen
it comes,
or
but Bowers. How good is Bowers at run blocking?
It's
because like Loveland can still run block for in 2 tight end sets.
It's not really that it matters; it's that he's there.
Yeah,
and
but
therefore you have to respect
because you can
personnel.
still you don't because you just treat him as a receiver if he isn't. That's just how defenses don't look at it and say, "Oh shit, they're in 12 personnel. We have to be in base." They look at it like, "Okay, who's the 12? Is it?" Because if it's Travis Kelce, I don't know. I'm respecting him more as a receiving threat than if it's Kittle, who I would be respecting more as a running.
I can't speak to Dennis Allen specifically, but I by and large disagree. I think defenses typically do base it entirely off of personnel, and 12 personnel. They typically go base defense.
They shouldn't. That'd be stupid. Like if it's Isaiah Likely, I think
I could be wrong. I'm going feelings over facts a little bit here, but I feel like that's why. Because if that weren't the case, you would almost never see base personnel.
No, that's not true because you have like Cole Kmet and Loveland. Loveland can still run block. He's actually been decent at run blocking. So it's Cole Kmet. Why? Or if I have
but functionally, who cares if
because if I have Ferguson and another tight end in there, right? Then I'm going to be in base. Jake Ferguson can run block, so can a second run blocking tight end. I'm going to go in base, and chances are they're not going to be throwing the ball because the other tight end isn't running out there, right? It's rare to have 2 tight ends that can do passing routes, right? And I will say that they also have Michael Mayer, right? Is their second tight end who can also go out like a Cole. He's more like a Cole Kmet, right? So you basically have I don't know if Bowers can run block as well. I really should look into this before I say this. This is why I'm asking if he can, because if you have Bowers and you have
my answer is I don't know. I assume a little bit, but probably poorly. I mean,
yeah.
We know
you do it as well
his
as
body
Loveland.
composition. I don't think anybody's worried about him as a run blocker. Honestly, it doesn't matter what the PFF grade says. He's not a scary run blocker, of course.
Right. So if it's like having a worse run blocker than Loveland in there with Loveland and Kmet. And in which case, if he's a worse run blocker than Loveland, then I'm really not respecting it. Way worse. Then I'm not respecting it at all. I'm just going to treat it as it's another wide receiver. That's how you should be doing it. He's a slot wide receiver, essentially. It's like having Kelce and Kmet.
I think, I don't know. I guess
that's how, and I've heard defensive coaches say basically just that, and that's why you want somebody who can. If you're like Ben Johnson's brought it up when we drafted Loveland, like you still need to be able to run block specifically because we need them to. They have to be respected in both.
12 personnel needs to give the impression that we're about to do something.
Or that it's at least a threat. Yeah, it's at least a threat. Because if I'm not threatened by the fact that you're super big, it doesn't matter. And that's not big. Bowers does not give me the threat of being big. That's the issue.
Yeah, I guess my slight counter to that would be if they come in with a packaged play call and Kyler Gordon is on the field and they go to a run, I'm not going to feel great about stopping the run anyway.
I'm going to feel fine because if Bowers is your extra blocker versus Gordon, I still feel good about Gordon as a run blocker that it doesn't matter. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, we already know that Kyler Gordon is a run blocker.
I think however good Bowers is run blocking, which we had agreed that no matter what the stat says is probably quite bad.
All right,
I would
so
still expect him to very easily handle Kyler Gordon.
I don't know. I disagree. But we'll see. We'll see. It depends. If he is actually, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a really good run blocker. I should.
All right. Check either way, I think we'll win the game. I don't know. I think it'll be a close win that won't convince me of much, but I think Ben's got enough tricks.
Brock Bowers is a 64.6 run blocker, so he's pretty good.
Considering the personality goes, we know what
he's only got 32 run blocking.
We know he's not a real. We know he's not a real.
Yeah, he's only in there like half the time they run it, so that makes sense. Whereas like, who's the other tight ends that they've got? Mayer's in there for the other half, and then they've got other tight ends that come in for it.
when they really want to run the ball,
they have an Ian Thomas who's also
they're both in.
Oh, Ian Thomas is in there for 32 snaps as well. Mayor's in there.
They have
for
Ian Thomas.
Ian Thomas. I don't know who the hell that is. 32 snaps. So out of 70 running snaps, he's in there for 32. Mayor's in for 34, and Brock Bowers is in for 32. So it looks like they've also been rotating in somebody else who also really sucks at it. So I don't know why they're doing that.
They're doing weird stuff, and I guess so they telegraph their stuff. I don't know. This is
a too
possibly more uninteresting than anything else we talked about. So we should move on. But
essentially, what I'm saying is it's going to be a high scoring game. I have more faith in our defense. I shouldn't say this. It's going to be it doesn't need to be an insane win like you're saying, because again, it comes back to once our secondary comes back, I think I have a lot more faith in our defense. If Gordon's playing, I'll feel pretty decent. If he's not, I am worried that Ashton Genty's going to have a get-right game on top of the fact that they're going to be able to throw on us. Hopefully, Tyreek Stevenson takes another step and it builds off of last week. If he doesn't, it's just, again, it's going to come out to, like, being a race to whoever gets, like, 42 first, potentially, right? Like, I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, not 42, but, yeah.
35, whatever, 20, 28. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll say like
not 42. 42 super high, but exaggerated.
You know, like a 30 to 27 or something like that wouldn't shock me.
So
anyway, I'm a good close Bears win. I'm not. You had said that proven over and over. I've proven over and over I'm not a homer. I don't really believe in this team that much, but I think we showed last week that we're better than the Raiders.
We're favorited by 1.5. Vegas does a really good job of setting things up and being unbiased, obviously. They should be.
Be very weird if they weren't.
I think what's the over-under set to, do you know? It's got to be like
something's telling me 52.5.
Let's see. You guessed 52.5, and it is
51.5. I changed to 51.5 actually.
51.5. It is 47.5.
Ooh, okay. Well, that explains why I took the over so quickly. I think 51.5 might have been my guess, which informed my decision to take the over already this week.
So I'm going to take the over. I might actually do a second bet with an alt over too to get more. So if I hit one, then hopefully hit the other.
Usually a bad idea, but okay.
I like doing that. I don't really care. So that's, I guess, what I'm getting at is, like, it might not be the route that the commies might have had, but also the commies are a little bit healthier, right? I guess Marcus Mariota was playing instead of that's how bad their defense is, though, man.
Mariota got hurt. But again, I need Caleb to actually do it. I need him to do it 2 games in a row. He's never done it 2 games in a row.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope. These are the perfect 2 games to be able to do it. So we will see.
Genuinely, we spent an hour and a half or 2.5 hours saying a bunch of stuff, and it hasn't been bad, but it does all come down to we'll see.
What else are you supposed to like? I'm telling you what I'm saying, right? But like, it is really
right. But I'm saying, especially with a 3-game sample size, 2 of which were not pretty, and 1 that was unbelievably pretty. It's like I don't know what fucking Bears team this. I have no idea.
Yeah, but also, like, how many people know? Okay, so here's the thing: outside of the obvious, how often?
I'm not criticizing us. I'm just saying it does come down to we'll see. Like,
I know that
it's hard to know with certainty.
Yeah, most teams, you don't know most teams until like week 6.
Yeah, but I know the Bills. I know the Bills are going to beat the Saints by. Actually, I know they're going to beat them by not as much as they should, but they'll still beat them.
Yeah, it's established.
Like, I don't know. There's like certain things to pick up certain teams, and we haven't gotten to know this Bears team enough. Like, I thought I was getting to know them after 2 games. I thought I had a real good read on them, and then I had a 5-leg parlay about how the Cowboys are going to beat us and how this game was going to go, and it wasn't going to be totally uncompetitive, but I thought, Cowboys win this game, and then we just beat the fucking shit out of them. So it's like, I don't know this team that well. I've seen things, but it's like, I don't know how much of that was that one day or,
Going back to the CeeDee Lamb point, though, I do think that game would have been closer with CD in it. I saw.
Yeah,
I told you
that
I
changes
saw a
so
high
much,
scoring
especially
game.
when we Tyreek is our number one. He has been operating as our number one,
Yeah.
for the most part. But when it comes to Tyreek could just do whatever he wants and rack up what I assume was a very good coverage grade on top of, I assume, the best run grade imaginable, because that one play makes up for anything else that he might have done.
Yeah.
When you just, that really trickles things down to, you have Tyreek and Nashawn Wright having to deal with both those guys. That would have gotten a lot worse.
Yep. So I think we match up well against them, but it's going to be one of those games where Caleb needs to come out and do what he did last week. And this is a perfect setup for him to do what he did last week, where we can even say again next week, if he does. Well, it was also the Raiders defense, right? You're going to hear that again. But if he does,
I will be saying it if
game.
we record next Friday. I'll say that no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it'll just be another data point of, well, we can do this, and then a bye week, and then
yep, and then you get the real test.
It'll feel a little different.
Yep.
This is like, I don't know what to feel like. I really don't.
Yep. Oh, do you know?
I will just say really quick, we basically got a full episode in the can. We talked only about the Bears, but I will just say really quick, it is very funny that the one guy who should really know how to defend, Caleb Williams, and also Ben Johnson, has always done a pretty good job against Ben Johnson.
Absolutely is
just absolutely shit the bed.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Flus? You fucking moron.
I feel bad for Flus, and this comes back to what we talked about when we talked about the Cowboys originally. I think it was an episode we didn't post, but I briefly covered it on our wins draft. The personnel is not made for what he wants to do. It's just not. He does not coach his DBs to be aggressive. He coaches his DBs not to give up the explosives. Even if they run similar coverages, he runs those coverages in a way that's like, hey, don't let them take the underneath. But you have DBs who, and again, one of them's out. What's his name's out? Bland is out. But he has DBs who want to play aggressive and try to get interceptions to make up for the big plays that they typically give up. And they give up a lot of big plays, again, outside the 1 year from Diggs. He also doesn't have a linebacker that can run the pole the way that he specifically wants. It's going to take up they have decent linebackers, right? But
he does not have a healthy one. He does not he does not have one that is healthy. Overshown would absolutely do a great job of it if he was healthy, but he's not.
Yes, thank you. And then you come back to their defensive line. They traded away Micah Parsons, and they don't really have much of a pass rush outside of that. So it's like, what is a coach supposed to fucking do? His personnel is set up basically to be like a depleted Bears team, the way that we looked when we were again really injured. It's just this is. They have 2 injuries, right? But it's not nearly as injured as the other ones. They just don't have the personnel for it.
I want to disagree with you, particularly because you constantly paint the Cowboys secondary with these broad strokes when there's theoretically a middle ground between what the analytics guys tell you and what all the pick sixes tell you. But I just watched the game, and there's no arguing with you. They're really stupid. Trash. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
And I still don't believe that's
I don't
necessarily the case, but this game was a terrible point in my favor. They're dumb. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
I don't say this because of analytics. It's not like I haven't watched a lot of Cowboys. Cowboys are always like America's game of the week.
No, it's not. It's not analytics. It's more like what the analytics guys will say. Every time Trevon Diggs gets a pick 6 2 years ago, it's like, yeah, Trevon Diggs did this, but he's also every time they do something good, be on Twitter, be oh yeah, thanks for letting me know.
Did you see the massive explosives he gave up in that same game? It's because I agree with that because I would watch the same game and be like, he did. Sure, he got 2 picks, but he also gave.
Yeah, I think I fundamentally disagree with 2 things. One thing is if he intercepts 11 passes, I think it was that year, something like that. Yeah. There's almost nothing you could do to not be a huge net positive to your team. The second thing I disagree even more with, whether that's right or wrong, is don't tweet at me, Seth Walder or Aaron Schatz, the two biggest, or Kevin, the PFF guy, Kevin Clark.
But it's also like
you
the guys
don't
like
have
the
to
film
tweet
guys
that he
do
sucks every time he gets another interception.
Yeah,
You could just
I
shut the
agree
hell
with that.
up.
The film guys
You
saw
can
it
shut the
too,
hell up.
though. To be fair, like the smart film guys, like the football nerds, the film.
I
nerds,
saw it.
they just saw it.
Yeah. Everybody saw it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not the
Shut
one who's
the
being
hell up.
annoying about it, though. I understand. I agree with you. I agree with you there. Just shut the up. We don't have to rain on everyone's parade every damn time something
Well,
good happens.
what I guess
But-
I'm saying is with Bland and Diggs, there are shades of gray that I think sometimes are missing in your analysis, except, and I'm paying you a compliment here, except for the fact that you were absolutely right. They did do that against the Bears. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But
I
it
think
always feels to
it's
me as if you're missing some shades of gray there.
I would. So here's the thing, though. I think in certain defenses, they're perfectly fine. Like if you go back to who was their defensive coordinator just a few years ago, Dan Quinn. If you go back to the Dan Quinn defense, Dan Quinn plays more aggressively, right? Like what?
You tried to recall a name,
And it did. I
and
did.
you
I know.
recalled it before I.
Before you could. Let's go. Hell yeah. It's because we're talking about DCs.
It's not that you can get. It's not that you can't get a name before I can. It's that when you get into the who am I thinking of? It's like,
Yeah.
all right, give me a second. I'll get it. I'll get it for Adam, and then you
Yeah.
got it. I'm like, what?
That was that. I'm a little proud of myself. Anyway, Dan Quinn plays more aggressively.
You should be.
And I'm fine with those cornerbacks playing like that because specifically he's looking for the takeaways and he's fine with giving up the explosives. He's an aggressive defensive. He's got a little bit more of an old school setup in how
Press
he thinks
man
about
slash
defense.
cover 3.
Yeah, and well,
That's what he
Eberflus
lives
also
on.
has an old school setup. It's a different old school setup. I guess what I'm saying there with the old school stuff is some of the new school stuff is don't give up the explosives anyway, but in a very different and more aggressive way.
Yeah.
Both are old school, but Flus is a different old school thought, which is like we don't want to give up those explosives. So when I play cover three, my cover 3 is less about playing aggressively and it's more about, well, I am a middle field close kind of guy. So we're going to play off cover 3 and we're going to bail and we're going to allow the underneath. These guys aren't that, right? And he tries to play a little bit of press because he's trying to play into like what they're good at. And he whiffs on it and lets Rome go for a touchdown because sometimes you do that with those guys, but also he doesn't know how to coach it. Like that's where I get back.
But also,
at it.
more so,
It's a philosophy thing.
Why didn't you send more pressure? Like, you saw Caleb Williams all last year. Why didn't you send 6 guys? Like,
Because it's a
you
philosophy
do it
thing.
once, maybe?
It's a philosophy thing.
Yeah, but
he's not
Flus-
going to.
I'll say
he sends fucking the most.
For some reason, I don't know why this is the case, but we've played the Redskins, I believe, or Commanders, Washington football team, 3 years in a row. And we're about to play them for the 4th year in a row. I believe that's correct. But every single one of those games, it was notable how often we would send 6 versus every other game. So it's not as if Flus was not capable of knowing to do that, which is just bizarre to me.
Yeah, I can't speak to it. I do think there's a little bit of a philosophy thing for him there. Where he just he gets like lost in what he wants to do versus what he should be doing.
Yeah. I mean the Flus memoriam has been done. I can't believe that Flus let us off the hook like that, kind of.
Yeah.
And also, I'll say this. So Jack Sanborn, we're both fans of Jack Sanborn to some extent. I was watching him like a hawk.
I wasn't paying attention to their defense.
He was absolutely awful.
Was he?
I couldn't believe how bad he was.
So my take after Sewell got drafted was that he might, and this was, again, I was high on Sanborn too. I was like, Sewell might end up taking Sanborn's job. It didn't happen because Sewell got injured both off seasons, right? And I think that played a lot. That and Sanborn was pretty damn good, right? Played a lot into it. Now Sewell's healthy and he looks fantastic. And I think, and I remember posting on Blue Sky, hey, maybe they got rid of Sanborn because I had this like grade on Sewell and he looked really good. Maybe they're seeing it too. Who knows? And they're just like, let's see what he's got.
There's a pod that was
like,
published at some point, probably before the draft, where I echoed that a little bit, where I said I bet the reason they didn't tender Sanborn was that I bet Dennis Allen really likes Noah Sewell. And I think the final part of my analysis was that he coached Nephi Sewell in in New Orleans. So like he even already had like he
There's three of them?
like knew the brother well. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other brother.
Yep. I remember this. Yeah, go on.
So I was like, no, that's it. I just like I think we both were like, yeah, I just bet Allen just really likes Sewell.
Yeah. It's just, and they did draft Hippolyte, so maybe there wasn't as much there, or maybe they wanted a backup. Who knows? But he does look really good.
At that point, I think that's
yeah.
We definitely need another linebacker. So
yeah. So anyway, that's a long way of saying, yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with Flus outside of the personnel just sucks. So I feel kind of bad, but he's also going to be stuck in his ways, and it's a philosophy thing when it comes to the corners. We don't need to talk. We've gone long enough on them. I think we're good on the Raiders stuff. So we'll see, but I do think it's gonna be a high scoring game, and I think the Bears win it. Guy really depends if Gordon plays, because if Gordon doesn't play, I do get worried that they'll be able to run and pass, and we won't be able to run as well. That's where I get scared that we'll lose it. If Gordon does play, though, I'll feel pretty confident. And yeah, so that's about it. We wanted to talk about rebuilds, and the right way to rebuild. I said save that for the pod, but we did talk about the Bears for almost 3 hours now.
Yeah. So again,
this is what happens when you don't pod in 3 weeks. You've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Even I didn't think this was going to happen, and I'm usually pretty good at knowing when we're about to do something stupid.
It was.
Let's not everything do we covered that again.
Let's not. But everything we covered was pretty good.
No, that's an afterpod.
Yeah.
That's an afterpod thought. But yeah, it's fine. I don't know, man. It's already gone long. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No.